Welcome to Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup. I'm your host, Jason Bland, and tonight we have guest Peter Benson. He is the inventor of the Tensor technology, well, not the inventor of Tensor, but of Tensor technology amulets, wristbands that affect your energy, change your mind, change your spiritual power. We're going to get into all that tonight. We had him on. We're supposed to have him on 2 months ago. I know Jamie was really disappointed when we had to reschedule, but we got him in here tonight. I'm so happy to have him on. We had him on Soundcheck. He's a fascinating guest. I think he's going to be tonight. And if you got questions about his technology later in the show, we'll open up the phone lines. You can call in and ask your questions. Do you have an amulet? Do you believe in the power of stones, amulets, Tensor technology to affect your personal energy? I do. I do believe these things can really affect your mood, your vibration, your energy. I was not a believer in the stones and all that stuff in my younger years until I met my wife, and she was really into just the stones and the vibrations, and she really proved it to me, and others have, that they definitely affect you. That there's so much more we don't understand about energy and all that. We're going to get into all that tonight with our guest, Peter Benson. And then, like I said, later, we'll open up the phone lines. Got a lot of weird to get to since we weren't on last week. I had to really narrow down what we're going to cover in the World Wide Web of Weird, but there's a lot. As always, I keep it to 7 articles, but I tried to choose the best. So we'll get to all that. So let's go ahead and get rolling into the show. Welcome to another night of Paranormal Soup. As I said before, I'm your host, Jason Bland. Tonight's guest is Peter Benson. He's actually here. We got him here in the waiting room. We're going to get to him in a second. Joining me, as always, is my beautiful co-host, Jamie D. How you doing tonight, Jamie?
Doing well, thank you.
Good to have you back. Sorry we missed you last week. I had some stuff going on work-wise. I couldn't do it. And next Sunday, so you guys know, more work stuff. I grew up retail. This is like my busy time of the year. And yeah, no show next week. I'm sorry, guys. It's a really busy time of year. We will be in full speed once we get into January. I want to get some open lines going, too. We need to do more of that. But we got guests I got to get lined up here for the 2024 schedule. We're starting to get that all scheduled away. Joining me from St. Augustine, Florida, as well, every Sunday night, usually when we do have a show, is Rob Audrey himself. How you doing, Rob?
I'm doing.
Glad to have you guys here. Missed you. Missed you last Sunday. Had work things. It was not fun. But joining us tonight, and 2 months ago we tried to do a show and things got screwed up, but he is here tonight, thankfully, because I think you're a great guest. How you doing tonight, Peter? Oh, you're muted. Unmute yourself. There you go.
I'm sorry, I was muted. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you on. Thank you for rescheduling. I'm definitely interested. I'm totally newbie to the Tensor technology. I've read a little bit on it, so you can definitely fill me in on what that's all about. But it's an honor to have you on the show. And feel free. I always tell guests to join us with World Wide Web of Weird. Butt in, stop me at any time. You had a note you want to add on an article or story, please join the conversation, as well as you guys in our beautiful chat room. There you guys are, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. Got all those guys in the chat room. Guys on radio, Paranormal Soup radio channel, Talkstream. Yeah, you'd have to come to one of these YouTube, Facebook, Twitch channels, but you could become a Patreon member, $2 a month, $1 a month, doesn't matter. You can be on our Patreon and get to a message to me there and join the conversation, which I should check my Patreon here. But we got a lot of weird to get to, so let's go ahead and roll into the World Wide Web of Weird. No, wrong music. Tonight on the World Wide Web of Weird, I thought I'd start out with this one. Should get it out of the way, right? And I'm not gloating. No, not at all. For those who watch the World Wide Web of Weird news segment, we've covered Mr. Sean Kirkpatrick of the AARO over the last year, and we've had some complaints. We've had some complaints. Like, it took you a year to make a website, Sean Kirkpatrick. And then you complained about David Gersh going to Congress and not coming to you. Wonder why. Well, guess what? Sean Kirkpatrick quit. He's done. He's left the AARO. Now who am I going to complain about? For those listening on the Paranormal Soup Radio Network, we are live stream. We stream out to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch if you want to watch. Otherwise, I will narrate as best as possible. Yes, Sean Kirkpatrick has quit. That is the latest. There we go. Let me just pull up the unexplained mystery article, get the short rendition of, like, we need to know much more. Head of the Pentagon's UFO office is stepping down after just 18 months. God. Shoot. According to reports, Kirkpatrick, who took on the role as director of the Pentagon's fledgling UFO investigation office just 18 months ago, is now set to step down in December. He will temporarily be replaced by his deputy, Tim Phillips, until a new permanent director is found. I'm ready to move on, he said. I have accomplished everything I said I was going to do. What? Take a year to make a website? Was that the accomplishment? I mean, really, what did you do? And complain about David Gersh and the testifying in Congress and not coming to you? What did you do? What was your accomplishment here? The move has certainly raised a few eyebrows. I got it on the small screen. You can't see my eyebrows raising. The move has certainly raised a few eyebrows, and it's certainly unclear what exactly prompted him to step down from his role so soon. Earlier this year, Kirkpatrick had been at loggerheads with David Gersh, the whistleblower and former top-level clearance holder at Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force, who made the startling claim that the U.S. government had long been in possession of partially intact vehicles of non-human origin. So, Mr. Gersh, since AARO has stood up and since I've been director has not come to see us and provided any information, Kirkpatrick said. To be clear, AARO has yet to find any credible evidence to support the allegations of any reverse engineering program for non-human technology. And that's why you suck. Like, literally, that's why you suck. You're obviously accomplishing nothing. You're being shut out by all the major departments of the DoD, Navy, Air Force. Yeah, they're throwing you bones, you know what I'm saying, buddy? It's just like Project Blue Book, man. Dr. Kirkpatrick served the American people with honesty and integrity. I'm not saying he wasn't honest or he didn't have integrity. I just didn't think he was doing much of anything. Tackling an incredibly difficult mission to explain the unknown. Okay, His commitment to transparency with the United States Congress and American public on UAP leaves a legacy the department will carry forward. Oh, yeah. So confident in that. All right, let's move on. We don't get to complain, that's it, of any more of Sean Kirkpatrick. Goodbye. It's almost time for Festivus, and I get my steel pull out, and this is how you disappointed me, Shankar Patrick. I can't do it now. Damn it. On to other people who disappoint me. I've heard this guy is such a sweetheart and a nice guy from people that have been on the show that know him, but I rip him to shreds anyways, and I feel bad, but I don't. It's Hami Musan. Oh, Hami. Back in September, controversial UFO researcher Hami Musan presented what he claimed to be the 1,000-year-old remains of two non-human entities at a congressional hearing entitled Public Assembly for the Regulation of Unidentified Anomalous Aerial Phenomenon. Musan went on to claim that the 30% of the DNA of these entities, which had been found buried between Peruvian cities of Palpa and Nazca in 2017, was unknown, and that the implants containing extremely rare metals had been removed from their bodies. His claims were met with almost universal criticism, and skepticism, I should say, with many researchers arguing that the aliens were in fact human mummies that had been removed from the archaeological site. This was again an official story during this week's second hearing on the topic, with a number of doctors and scientists insisting that the mummies were genuine, but making no mention of Musan's extraterrestrial interpretations. Hami Musan, always last week I had Britt Elders, or not last week, 2 weeks ago. And she knew him, and she says he's really nice. And she's not the only one. I've had a lot of people say the guy's a real sweetheart and really, really puts himself out there he puts himself out there with BS stories. There's countless ones. I gave her an example on the show tonight about the one where they took a picture of they showed a picture of saying this was an alien mummy in a glass case in Area 51 that Hami presented, and it was an Egyptian exhibit of a mummy. This is the kind of shenanigans that end up. Maybe he didn't know that, but this is the kind of stuff he proves. And I've had Steve Mara on and Barry Fitzgerald, who went down to Peru, studied these mummies, and called them bogus. Not that they're not real mummies, but that they've been manipulated and messed with and not alien. And I'll take their word. They went down there and they studied them. I don't know about Hami. He's presented stuff that's total BS. So we'll move on. I know some people, Gaia Network and all them, think they're the greatest thing in the world, but whatever. Moving on. Remember Ring camera? I got my Ring camera. I was all obsessed with my Ring camera. Well, they had this competition, right? What did I say was going to happen? They had this competition for the proof of aliens in your Ring camera, right? What a great publicity stunt. I got to give them major props for that. I actually think that's very inventive, very cool. But we knew how it was going to end, right? So, yeah, you can see here from one of the submissions here, I guess, showing up from Unexplained Mysteries, they show weird and hilarious submissions to Ring's $1 million alien contest revealed. People across the country wasted no time in producing some weird, wacky, and downright hilarious video clips. Launched back in October as part of the firm's Halloween celebrations, the competition, which offered a grand prize of $1 million, required participants to capture scientific evidence of extraterrestrials. So they knew they weren't going to have to pay $1 million to anyone. Suffice it to say, the evidence captured by those taking part was anything but scientific. Instead of utilizing puppets, silly costumes, and crude special effects to entertain and amuse, some of the entries looked like they had been put together in around 5 minutes, while others were quite elaborate and could essentially be in with a shot of winning the prize. One video showed someone simply holding up 2 alien toy figures in front of the camera, while another saw someone in a costume take control of the house's owner and use his trick-or-treat bowl as a hat. There are so many that I've seen that I've just been incredibly creative and fun, said Ring's Chief Revenue Officer, Mimi Swain. As for the winning entry, we may have to wait a little longer to see that. We have gotten a number of submissions that our experts are reviewing. You can check out some of the entries below. They have a video here on Unexplained Mysteries.
I didn't even know they would. I didn't even think to look this up.
Yeah, remember I talked about it on the show when they first did it in October, yeah.
Didn't hear anything else about it since then.
Yeah, they had this thing, Inside Edition did a video, news article on it, and they show these people's submissions, and these people having a good time. It's fun. I get it. Like I said, props to their marketing department, because that was brilliant. That was brilliant.
It was brilliant. It really was. Does this have a video, or?
There's videos. I wasn't going to play it. Videos. There's videos. It's from the Inside Edition, so I can't play it. Out later. Now, what do I say? Where's the one place... Audience, if I could hear you, you would say, where's the one place I don't want to see? Jason Bland does not want to see a UFO. And here I am referring to myself in third person. Dear God. Where do I not want to see a UFO? What place?
On an airplane.
Listen. On an airplane. Next up, from Unexplained Mysteries, I got a shorter article with them. Police files reveal airline near misses with UFOs over England. This is the original article from Metro. But like I said, Unexplained Mysteries has a shorter version. 2 separate incidents involving passenger airliners narrowly avoiding unidentified objects were detailed in the reports. Coming perilously close to another object while in the air is a harrowing experience for any pilot, but when it is not even clear what the object is, the situation can quickly become very dangerous. 2 such instances, both which occurred over England, were recently brought to the light following a Freedom of Information Act request to the Essex Police. First, which was reported by the pilots of a Ryanair flight which took off from Stansted Airport in Essex, was described as a black object that was encountered at 4,000 feet. According to the law, the object passed within 20 meters of the aircraft. The plane was traveling at 230 miles per hour, and the object was traveling from north to south. They have said that it was possibly a drone, but the drone monitoring equipment at the airport had not picked it up. The second incident, which again occurred near the Stansted Airport, involved 3 separate airliners, which all reported unidentified objects within their vicinity. The 2 planes picked something up on their traffic collision avoidance systems, but none of the pilots were able to set eyes upon the object. No definitive explanation for either incident was ever found. And there's so many more you don't hear about. Listen, they had to get a Freedom of Information Act to find out about it, because the airlines made police reports because they were thinking maybe they're drones. Hey, Rob, you're the drone guy. 4,000 feet up. What kind of drone are we talking? You're muted. Still muted. I still see the mute mark.
It wouldn't unmute.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. You know, my drones. I mean, legally you can only go 500 feet, but say you don't care about the law. You know, 1,000 feet to, I don't know how high my drones would go, and I have pretty good drones.
4,000 feet seems pretty high up. But I mean, we've had encounters with things up at 30,000 feet. I mean, just 2 weeks ago, I think we had the one video where something was at 30,000 feet.
Yeah,
You know, we're like, that's no drone.
No, no.
But even 4,000 feet seems like way too high up for a drone.
Yeah, I mean, I can, you know,
A commercial one.
Yeah, I have almost a 1.5 mile distance that I can fly my drone away.
But in theory, you could go up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't do that.
No, don't. I wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah, like I said, I do not want to be William Shatner on the plane going, look out the window, you know, like, because that would be me. I'd be freaking out if I saw a UFO. Anywhere else, I'd be like, ooh, you know, but not on a plane.
Yeah.
No.
All right, next up. I hope this isn't fake. I got a video for this. Beware. They blurred it out, thankfully. Wait on the video. Riawi researchers, wild boar was torn in half by Bigfoot-like cryptid. According to researcher Dean Harrison, who has spent 25 years investigating Yowie, Australians' answer to Bigfoot, a recently emerged video clip shows a giant footprints and boar torn in half as evidence as an inanimate creature really is roaming the wilds of Queensland. The footage was filmed by a group of workers who were stunned to discover a wild boar that had been literally torn in 2 halves, seemingly by some sort of large, powerful creature. Drag marks and set of enormous footprints leading away from the scene also added to the mystery. Harrison's research into the clip led him to discover that it had been filmed by a crew who had been working on the Adini Rail project in central Queensland near Claremont and Glenstone. The men had also experienced strange noises and feelings of being watched at their camp. The narrative seems very genuine, he said, and in my opinion, everything looks right. I also receive reports of animals ripped in half all the time. You know, we've had the question, is Bigfoot a carnivore? Does he eat plants like, you know, Harry and the Hendersons? It sounds like he's a carnivore. Go ahead and hit the bean footage. They blur it out. You know, look, thankfully, the boar, but you can see 1/2 is there and 1/2 is over there.
But was it eaten or just torn in half?
Right. Just torn in half. Like, you know, I mean, is it just an angry Bigfoot having a bad day and took it out on the boar? I mean, what's the point?
I wonder if it was examined to see if there was
Or it's a message because these guys are building a railway into his territory, and maybe it's a message. No, seriously. Maybe it's a message like, I did this to this boar. Do you want that to be you? I'm serious. These guys are getting spooked while they're working on the rail yard. They're hearing noises, having things happen. This could be real deal, you know.
That's what they do around pot farms and stuff out here. They'll put like animal heads on sticks and stuff.
Yeah, but I don't think this is a pot farm unless Sasquatch is out there growing.
People do that to
yeah, I know what you mean, to like scare away. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we're talking about something that is probably, you know, is intelligent. Well, it's not your total typical wild creature.
did they look to see if there's any bullet wounds or like blunt objects? Like,
They
did
don't mention
somebody
anything
pull
like
it
that, but it sounds like they would have mentioned
and
if there was a
then
bullet
a
wound.
person maybe did it?
Yeah.
Was it
I don't know.
inspected?
Don't know.
What was he doing?
Don't have that part, you know. Just the beautiful beam footage of the Bigfoot tracks. Those are big feet. But I'm saying, you know, you get it. If these guys are building this railway, these are these workers working on this big railway expansion in Queensland, and they're going into territory that has not seen a lot of human activity, and they're encroaching on a Yowie, I should say, because it's Australia, their territory. This could be a message to them.
How many footprints was there? Just those two standing there?
No,
Or
use a trail. If you look, when
Okay.
the video pans up, there's a whole trail of the footprints leading off. I mean, it looks like pretty easy sand. You take a step, you're leaving a footprint. So it wasn't 1 or 2 prints. I think you see several that lead off. It's probably hard. You can see like there's a trail there. Yeah, I'm just saying like this. There's more footprints. You can see walk around. Like I said, this could be the message just to the workers. Like, hey, leave. All right, let's move on. We're gonna run out of time. From Queensland to Minnesota, we got another Bigfoot story.
Bigfoot saying, "Get off my lawn."
Yeah, get off my lawn.
Yep.
Yeah, it comes out with like, you know, I can't do it in Australia. I want to do what's it? The Dundee, like, you think that's a knife? Whatever. I can't do it. I wish I was funny like that. I can't. Bigfoot doing it. I don't know. All right, mother and son hunting in Minnesota could not believe their eyes when they spotted a sizable bipedal creature that may have been Bigfoot. The possible Sasquatch sighting reportedly occurred early in October as Susie and Jeff Stanley were driving along a trail in search of birds to bag at the state's Mud Goose Wildlife Management Area. The goose hunting effort required them to cruise along at a rather slow pace, which proved to be fruitless, as allowed by Susie to notice something unusual along an adjoining trail. Yelling, "What the heck was that?" she convinced Jeff to put their vehicle in reverse to get a better look at the oddity, and the pair were astonished at what they saw. Later recounting in their experience at the Bigfoot Field Research Organization, Jeff indicated that they observed the upper half of a giant black creature walking into the timber on 2 feet. The figure he recalled sported a rounded head sitting low on the shoulders and long arms that appeared to swing as it moved. Marveling at the musculature of the mysterious creature, Jeff likened its physique to that of a wrestler-turned-actor Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Having lost sight of the odd interloper when it ventured into the bush, the pair bravely drove to where it had been on the side road so they could further investigate the situation, and were struck by a pungent smell, which they described as rotting composite mixed with musty rags. It's very detailed. This would seemingly strengthen the case that the creature could have been Sasquatch, as the creature is somewhat notorious for emitting a powerful, unpleasant odor. They always stink. Not always, though. But that is a very common feature. My question is why? Why do they smell?
Is that where skunk gate came from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, literally, I mean, most the descriptions of Bigfoot is that they smell really bad.
I still like big buff Bigfoot.
You think if they're hunters, though, like they're hunting game, that wouldn't be good for them. You know?
They're ripping boars in half and stuff. They're probably not going to smell too good after that.
True. I'm sure they don't have a great, deodorant in the wilderness.
Mm.
All right. So last up, this one scares the heck out of me. I saw this. Jamie shared me this. I immediately sent it to my mom. We no longer have dogs in this household. We're still trying. But I love dogs, and I saw Jamie shared this with me. What we know about mysterious illness making dogs sick and how to keep your pets safe. I know it's not paranormal. It's not weird. But I think a lot of you out there like me are animal lovers, and this scares the hell out of me. You know, when I was a kid, one of the scariest parts of a movie was watching Planet of the Apes and them saying, all the cats and dogs died. And that, like, broke my heart. Like, that could happen? Oh, my God. You know, like, I don't care about the people. Let the apes take over, but not the cats and the dogs. That's so scary.
People need to know that if their animals exhibiting these signs right now, to take it seriously and go to the vet, because this is something that, and they right now don't know what could be causing it.
There's a new warning about the mystery illness affecting dogs, with cases being reported nationwide. Here's what we know about the unknown respiratory illness. Is from ABC Watch. Affecting hundreds of dogs nationwide, what veterinarians are recommending. There was just far more there was just far more coughing dogs coming in the emergency room than our years past, said Amanda Kavanaugh, the section head of small animal emergency services in Colorado. While research is still underway, vets are saying the illness is highly contagious and in some cases fatal. Most reported symptoms are similar to those of a typical kennel cough, including coughing, sneezing, nasal or eye discharge, and lethargy. Instead of that dry cough where the dog felt good, it was now this wet cough where the dog felt sick, Kavanaugh said. First reported in Oregon back in August, the State Department of Agriculture received over 100 written reports from vets about the illness. Cases eventually spread even further west within San Diego's Humane Society, temporarily pausing intake of owner-surrendered dogs until next month to help prevent the spread. He's never been a sick day in his life, said Wendy Brown, an Idaho dog owner. Brown said her 3 golden retrievers, Bridge, Dooley, and Lulu, each started showing symptoms earlier this month. Dulu started doing kind of this huffing, also seemed to feel quite lethargic. Not too long after, Bridge began to exhibit the symptoms, but yet he and his were louder, more boisterous. It was like I thought it was some kind of his stomach was. I thought it was his stomach because he made it like a retching sound. Oh my God. First, Brown thought it was just a typical kennel cough, but when the symptoms didn't go away, she knew it was something more serious. The vet started him on a 10-day cycle of dioxin. Today has been day 10, and he's not a lot better, so quite a bit of concern for us here. While her dogs are slowly starting to show signs of recovery, Brown said she is still in the dark as to what caused the illness in the first place. They go swimming usually once a week, could be there. All 3 dogs have participated in all those activities. We've all gone down to the dog park. I know how you nail down which one of those things might have been a culprit in terms of contracting it. I mean, it could be anywhere. So just so you guys know, be careful. You know, your dog's got to get their love. They got to go to the dog park. I was telling my mom, like, yeah, I know, I want to take them to the dog park. She's like, yeah, but it's not here yet. That's out there. You know, it's kind of like my dad and their little Shih Tzus routine to go to the dog park. I don't want to take that away, but I don't want anything to help in their little dog. But even my boss at work, his first thing he said, he's like, oh, then the cats and dogs went away and we had to manipulate ape DNA. And you know, like he started going into the whole Planet of the Apes scenario. I'm like, don't start. Because when I was a kid, I was seriously, when I saw Planet of the Apes, damn dirty ape. When I saw that movie, that's what terrified me the most about that whole movie. It wasn't genetically creating the apes to be humans and them taking over. No, it was that all the cats and dogs died. I'm like, no. That's it for the World Wide Weird. Tonight, our guest, Peter Benson, will be joining us after this commercial break. We're going to talk about your Tensor technology and your experiences when we come back. And we'll open up the phone lines later in the show. Call in, join the conversation, ask questions of our guest, Peter Benson, tonight when we come back after the short commercial break.
Join us every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time for Weird Wednesday, the live stream, with your hosts Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom, where we'll talk about all things paranormal, including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do Voices from Beyond, the Cold Case Files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Of the second kind, physical evidence of a UFO. Close encounters of the third kind, contact. From Steven Spielberg, the director of Jaws, comes one of the most ambitious and unusual films ever made. And what you will see has never been seen before. It's a cosmic mystery crossing what many scientists believe will be the next threshold of human experience. It is called Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It begins in an Indiana town and leads to one inescapable conclusion. We are not alone. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Certificate A. Now showing at the Odeon, Leicester Square.
The international chart-topping Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest has been described as terrifyingly real, a must-read, shocking and chilling brilliance, genuinely worrying, utterly frightening. Don't read before bed. Described as one of the spookiest writers out there, best-selling author G.L. Davies presents Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest, the true paranormal account that is shocking the world. Dare you enter? Dare you read? Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, and wherever books are sold. Pray you never have to live there.
This is the sound of a space clock aboard a U.S. satellite 180 miles above the Earth. No one winds up this timepiece. It's powered by a tiny battery, a battery that delivers power for years without replacement. Now the same type of battery, the Duracell battery, can bring new reliability and long life to your battery-operated equipment. Radios, cameras, toys, all run far longer. Duracell batteries, the long-distance power cells, outlast any ordinary battery. The same type of battery that keeps space clocks running for years can bring long life to anything powered by batteries. Dura, as in durable. Cell, as in power cell. The Duracell battery, made by Mallory.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from Talkstream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Switch to DCS ranging.
240, nominal to profile.
We're in the pipe, 5 by 5.
Tonight on Paranormal Soup, our guest is Peter Benson. Are you ready to understand you're powerful? You are as an aspect of source. Peter was a normal mechanic and technician engineer when he experienced a major awakening which opened up his connection to the higher self and the angelic realm. He discovered he had an angelic origins as part of the Archangel Michael's army of light. Guided by Archangel Michael and ascended masters, Peter was guided on how to put together Tensor technology with the palpable healing properties. His research led him to build Tensor rings, all cubits, crystals, infused pendants, Merkaba healing coils, sound frequency amplifiers, PTSD restoratives, and more. When wearing Peter's pendants, anklets, or using his various energy tools, they connect you to an auroric field, creates a protective light around your subtle bodies of light. The force field will protect your core energy field from lower influences, including environmental, building, negative energies, entities, and people. They work directly with your conscious intentions. Peter Benson uses his advanced knowledge of both technology and quantum physics to bridge the gap between science and consciousness. In every product, Peter taps into the energy frequencies of potent healing to help you remove existing patterns that stand in the way of achieving optimum health, happiness, and financial freedoms. These tools are designed with the mathematical and quantum principles to harness profound angelic energy, helping you make your life better and reimagine your reality. Just by wearing his jewelry, each piece is beautiful. It looks to look at, plus the wearer can feel it healing and calming ability right away. Peter has his stuff. We're going to be showing some of his work tonight. You can have questions if you want later. We'll open up the phone lines after the next commercial break. But let's go ahead and get to our guest. Welcome to the show, Peter. It's good to finally have you on.
Thanks for having me on. It's been a while to try to get on here, but I'm glad I'm on now. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, we had one attempt. Things went amok. We got you now. So I'm glad to have, like I said, Jamie. I know you were like, no, come on, because you were very excited to have him on. Like, Jamie, you haven't seen people. She does some really beautiful jewelry, and she really believes in the energy and focus of these amulets. And me. I do. I felt like I was saying at the beginning of the show, I've felt the power of crystals. I feel the power of energy come off the stuff. I've had psychometry experiences. So I really believe in the power of the elements around you, I guess you say. But I am total dumbbutt to what I should be wearing or what I should be doing to raise my frequency. I have no idea about any of this stuff. My wife would school me on it. But what is Tensor technology?
Tensor technology is basically a ring. Let me get one here for you. I'll put one on the screen for you. I'll move this out of the way. And there. So we'll put it up here. Get these out of the way. That red ring is a Tensor ring.
I don't know if it's your camera, but man, that thing looks like it's on fire glowing.
It's red. It's the light.
Very red.
Well lit. Yeah. But that is actually a sacred cubit, and that one actually resonates at 144 megahertz, a resonant frequency of hydrogen. This is the one that Slim Sperling, who brought this technology into our remembrance, because I think this is really old tech, into our field and helped everybody understand what it was. And he has a lot of evidence, a lot of anecdotal evidence that he gets back from his clients and people that actually purchased his products when he was alive. He passed in 2008, and I wish I had a chance to meet him. But while he was doing his work, he actually open sourced everything. He told everybody exactly how to create these tools. So over time, people have been creating these tools, and different frequencies have been coming out. So not just 144 megahertz. You have 188, 177, 672, I think it was, and there's a whole bunch of them. There's a 333. Is
Is this like on the EM spectrum it's producing?
I'm not exactly sure, but I think they are frequency generating. Yes.
Okay.
So
I mean, like if I walked up to one of these things with like a tri-field meter, would it do anything? Would I get any kind of like EM signal coming off of these things? It does.
It'll make your meter go quiet.
So it like nullifies the EM signals. That'd be great.
It nullifies. It does. It blocks out. I've had EMF meter, a tri-meter, and I've actually gone up to them. And what happens is it goes quiet when the antenna from your meter goes right to it. It gets quiet.
Yeah.
It neutralizes it.
Now we're talking.
Yeah. I've had friends of mine actually go into a MUFON event in Phoenix, and they were wearing that pendant. That's Archangel Michael. And somebody was walking around the meeting having fun with their meter and coming up to everybody's cell phone going, nope, that one's not working. The EMF fixers and stuff. And he was having fun making fun of people. And he came up to the pendants, and they were explaining what the pendant did, and it went up to it, and it just went quiet. So I'm like, okay. So we have anecdotal evidence. I don't have scientific studies on it, but it's been interesting on that.
So
But yeah.
as an engineer, I mean, tell us a little bit about your background. What started to convince you of this technology? What brought you into this realm?
Well, what happened was I was actually going through let's say a family restructure, and I was discovering who I was again and trying to figure out what I'm doing with my free time and understanding stuff. And I was reading books. So I really started reading Brian Weiss, Michael Newton. They're the ones that actually were, regressing people, getting getting the ideas of the structure behind life. Like they were regressing people to after they pass on. What happened? What was the first step,
like the in between?
Yeah, life between lives. And they have all these those books and all the stories and thousands of regressions creating this, construct. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. Okay, so if I have no idea what's going on here now, and they're showing me this whole structure of what's going on afterwards, what's going on here? So I'm like, okay, perceptions are completely moot at this point. So what's going on? I got into Dolores Cannon, which amazing story. All of her books, I read them all. They're amazing. Love Nostradamus. That was really cool. Caretakers of the Garden is really good too. Then what happened was I found going through these. I was going through some of the the interviews of Dolores Cannon, and Slim Sperling came up. And I'm like, okay, who's this guy? And he's this skinny old guy with a big white beard, kind of looks like a super skinny Santa Claus kind of guy. And his name is Slim, and that's his name he got from when he was in the Navy, because he was just so damn skinny. And you'll watch his videos, and he's a very Southern kind of guy, very polite, his nuanced, and his energy was really kind of interesting when you watch him. And he talks about these tools. And when you watch him, you can tell he's genuine. It's not one of these snake oil salesman kind of guy, and he's just talking about it. It's like, no, this is what it does. And it's like
he open sourced it.
Again, he open sourced it. So it's like, if you don't believe me, try it yourself.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I did, and a bunch of other people do. So Tensor technology is available out there. So it's really, really cool.
So it's basically, it's taking like a coiled ring and making a coiled ring. So you have like two opposite poles meeting basically. How does it work? I mean, it's like, I mean, I know you don't have all the answers, but what's the general theory? Yeah.
Well, so the original design was a single ring, like a one wire, welded onto itself. And that was actually found to actually generate energy at like a room temperature superconductor by John Archibald Wheeler in 1957. He was a Manhattan Project physicist. So I mean, big boys. This is the big league kind of guys. They look at this and it's like they don't know what to do with it, so they put it on a shelf. They didn't understand. So Slim Sperling found out about this information and this technology, and then he actually found out it's like, oh, this is what Wheeler was talking about. So okay. So now all of a sudden
didn't know what to do with it.
Right. They didn't know what to do with it. So Slim Sperling found it and worked it. It's like, because what Wheeler found was when you create one ring and you have that one ring and it's braced onto itself, that ring creates a torus field, but one side is positive and one side is negative. So it's positive life and an anti-life. So you don't want to use the negative aspect of that tool. So it becomes moot. You don't want to use it.
What happens?
And by accident, it's anti-life. It'll take life away from you. So it's a really bad thing. Yeah.
So you really kind of need to know what you're doing a little bit then with this. Okay.
Yeah. So Slim Sperling made one of those, and he actually was playing with them, and he had some friends working with him and experimenting and trying to do it. And one of his friends was working there. It's like, oh yeah, what's this going to do? And he put it on his heart, and his heart stopped.
Oh, okay. Yeah, not good.
I mean, no, he got it started again, and it's like, okay, after that, Slim was like, oh, nope, we cut that thing up, and it will never make one again. But what they found, they found out how to make it that's all positive.
Yeah. So even if you accidentally flipped it around, you're not going to get a heart attack.
Yeah, no, you're not going to have a heart attack. So, yeah, it's basically one wire, long wire, and it folds over. You fold it over on itself. So now you have a giant U, a nice flat U, and you spin it clockwise from you hold the base one end and you spin it clockwise. And then during that time, you put a positive intention on it while you're building it, and then you cut it to the specific lengths. And this is where Slim started it, where the sacred cubit length that he was using is actually the cubit length of the Great Pyramid of Giza.
Ah.
So that puts a little perspective on it.
Well, you know what it reminds me of is a little bit of like the Amun-Ra kind of symbol there, a little bit of the evil eye, and even a little Sumerian with the way that they would have kind of like the bracelets that were like, they always seem to be like a twisted cord like that, like in the Sumerian like cuneiform.
It could be, yes. I don't know. Like I said, I think this is very old technology. It's very straightforward. Yeah. It's very old. So once you actually get those cut, and then you fold it over to a circle again, and then braze it back onto itself. Now it creates two energy conduits, and it's actually creating a positive field on both sides. So that's how a tensor ring is designed, built, and that's what they create.
The positive field, is this magnetic? What is the field?
What Slim Sperling called it is it creates almost like a life energy or a chi energy, and he basically went through the list of all the different nomenclature for life energy.
The force, as I like to call it.
The force, yes. And it was the Slim Sperlings had a couple of his rings sent out to two different labs. So one of them was in Germany, and one of them was at Lockheed Martin facility. And it was tested out to be 144 megahertz resonance, but they didn't know exactly what to do with it, but they could feel the energy coming off. They understood that it was a massive amount of energy. They just don't know how to capture it.
Because literally, if you could capture that kind of energy and use it, then free energy.
Exactly. I mean, these pendants could be free energy if we knew how to capture the energy out of it. I don't know. So that's part we're working on.
Unless it's tapping into an energy field that isn't the energy you can use to power a battery, but it powers life.
Right. But this one actually does power life, and it actually amplifies life in different forms. So the way the energy is actually shown as coming off the tool. So the ring right here, if you look at it, it's in the middle of this ring. If you think of that ring as like when you're blowing like soap bubbles, the soap film in the middle, the little film of energy there, or the soap film. Now the center of this ring has a energy film in the middle of that. So when you put it into a pendant, now that energy film is interacting with all those crystals.
What do you have in there? It's really pretty. I mean, what is in there?
That has 8 crystals in it. It's got tiger's eye, lapis, black onyx, morganite, tanzanite, turquoise, green mica, selenite.
And where would you wear that? Like as a necklace, basically?
Yeah.
Like around, like just an amulet?
Yep, like right here. Yep, right there.
You got one. Of course.
Yep, I'm wearing one. So the other aspect of it, so it's got the field in the middle, but also when you have it like this way, you'll see that it creates a field. I'll get it right here. It creates a torus field that comes off this way and this way. So it's actually a double torus off of the side right here. So a torus field coming off this way and a torus field coming off this way. So as you're wearing it, it's actually producing a torus field that's actually intersecting your field right into your heart chakra.
As I say, because you're putting it on your heart chakra, yeah.
Yep.
When I was in my early 20s, I started getting into meditation, and I would feel these pressures like in my head and my chest, like my chest was going to pop out. I didn't know nothing. I mean, I'd heard of chakras, but I had no idea there'd be pressures or circles, or like because I'd feel like a circle moving. I started reading up and find out, I'm not going crazy, or I don't have a tumor in my brain. It's my chakras opening up.
See, I don't know about the energies there. It's like when you have an energy opening, it's kind of almost a rush. If you have a blockage in a chakra, you'll feel resistance.
Yeah. I had people do Reiki on me later.
Yeah.
Like kind of help try to clear it up, because they said, you're way open. Like you need some balance. Yeah. A lot of weird stuff was happening then too. I won't say it. It's like people go to this. They hit this point in their spiritual journey where I think when those chakras start opening up and you get a little off whack,
Yeah. So, okay, I have a question for the three of you guys. Okay, so I want to experiment with you so we can actually start the conversation and
Yeah.
go from there. So, okay, armor. You can do armor. That's armor right here. That's Metatron. I could experiment with that one.
All right, I can pull it back up.
You can do Shamuel. This one is more of like a high stress and trauma release. This one's very calming. Or Archangel Michael, for those that are really sensitive with Michael.
I
have any
put
preference?
the first one up because I took you down. I want to take a look at. Ooh, I do like that one too.
I like that one you're touching.
This one, the first one.
Yeah.
That one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is Shamuel with the 2 rings. Okay.
I like Archangel Michael. I'm not a huge like Archangel Michael fan or anything like that. I just like the way that one looks.
Yeah. Okay. So which one do you want to?
What about you, Rob?
Yeah, I kind of am drawn to the Archangel Michael one too.
All right, so that's 2 out of 1. I don't know, Jamie. You just got outvoted.
Okay, let's try this one. But you can also do this with the other one too, Jamie. If you go to the website, you can do this off there. I'll just leave them both up, so I'll just let you play with them that way. All right. So this process you can actually go through. Just go onto the website, Energies of Service, go into the shop, and then pick one of the pendants, Michael, Metatron, Shamuel, or multidimensional, whichever one you want to play with. What you want to do is visualize it. So put your hand right on your chest, right your heart chakra, right in the center. Visualize it being right underneath your hand. Now tell it to reset with a thought. Tell it to reset. So you're going to reset any intentions or energies on that pendant. Now what you do is you tell it to go to full power. Tell it to show you what it can do. And just feel the energy shift in your body. I can't tell you what you're going to feel. This is all unique to everybody because everybody's different. So whichever pendant you wanted, give that a try.
I know I feel like when I do that, I don't know if it's just me put my hand on my chest, but I feel that heart chakra spinning.
Yep. Did you feel anything different than that?
Felt like a little wave, like just like kind of like a heat energy go up through from my heart up to my head.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie?
I missed the beginning part, so I don't think I started tuning in right from the beginning.
Okay.
Cat's not happy in the back. He didn't like it.
Okay. So Jamie, just visualize the pendant. Like, put your hand to your heart chakra, and visualize the pendant directly underneath your hand, between your hand and your chest, right where your heart chakra is. Visualize it there. Feel it. And tell it to reset with a thought. You don't have to do anything more than just think it. Tell it to reset. Now tell it to go to full power.
That don't be the horrible radio host. I can't have radio science, but do you feel anything? Can't radio science.
No noise. It's so radio quiet. So yeah, I do this with everybody we come in contact with when we go into conferences and all that.
Yeah.
And the reason we do this is like when we're in conferences, we're face to face, one on one, and people will come up and they're like, "Ooh, that one's pretty," and I'm like, "Okay, I really appreciate you liking the pendant for its visual appeal, and then that's fantastic."
I want to interrupt you for a second. I will say right now that heart chakra for me is like on fire. Like there's like this is burning in the middle of my chest. I'm just gonna add that in.
Okay, so now that you have that going, ask it to release whatever it is that's causing you that trauma or that energy field or that stress. Now you're
Retail Black
controlling.
Friday, go.
Yeah, but that's what these do. What
See,
they do is they start the release.
and the reason I had chose that one is because right now a lot of the things that I've been focusing on and stones that I've been using is to help release anxiety and certain things
Yeah.
like that. So that's kind of what my basis has been for the past, I don't know how many months now. So while I was just doing that, I was feeling like a low kind of a vibration that was kind of vibrating out the tension that I was kind of holding and kind of helping. It's like a slow start where I could feel it kind of start to slowly vibrate it down.
Yeah. Yep. And the good part about it is you can actually, if it becomes too strong, just tell the pendant to go down to your comfort level and it will calm right down instantly. It's instantaneous.
What's your website again where they can look at these?
Let's see. I'll put it up in there.
And a question that Larry had out there about Raymond Moody. We were supposed to have Raymond Moody on, and he was a second rescheduled from the same publicist, and then he canceled. I am going to try to get Raymond Moody on. You know I'm going to try to get Raymond Moody on the show.
Yeah. So, yeah, I posted it up on the YouTube channel. And it's energiesofservice.com.
Energiesofservice.com. I'll write that down.
So it's either, all the pendants are different. And when we're talking with folks at a conference, we were just saying, I have them go through this practice with every single pendant and give each pendant about a minute or two, and just feel how it interacts with you, because your energy is going to tell you what you need the most. Like the Metatron is literally you're putting it on energy armor. Michael feels like putting on a nice warm blanket, very comfortable.
Well, I am
low.
warm. Like it's suddenly like I'm getting hot flashes. I'm saying like my chest is on fire.
Yeah, moving lots of energy. And as I was mentioning, it's like if it's too much, just ask it to calm down. It will do that. Yeah, and then for those that actually want to do more of a higher event, higher things, more, let's see.
Oh, well, that one gives me almost a headache looking at it.
That is the multi-dimensional. That one works on your third eye, crown chakra, and star chakra.
That is interesting.
Yeah. Those have all the same crystals as Archangel Michael, but it's designed differently with different tensor rings that do different things. So that's what this is all about. These actually help you. This sounds like an infomercial. This is not what I wanted to be. It's how the tools are so interactive with your energy. It's just like I've never experienced anything quite like it. And I've seen all kinds of different tools at conferences and stuff like that, but nothing I've found so far can actually, when you put it on, you actually feel it. You experience a energy shift or a change or something happens. And it's been kind of quite a really wild ride. I've been, let's see here, I'll switch back over here so we can actually go back over. This all started from when we were talking about those books. I was building tensor rings, just the rings themselves, and that's all I was doing, just tensor rings. And I was going through, sound baths and meditations and other things, trying to just figure out who I was again, and going through, energy healings, having Reiki done, and all this other stuff. And the next thing I know, I was having a session done. And at the end of the session, Metatron comes in and says, "You need to make these anklets." And
was this your first? I should say. So, I mean, you're having a moment here. You're having. Was it a Reiki session you came through?
Yeah, it was closing at the closing of a raking session. It was coming through. It was like, whoa.
So you had like a vision of Metatron. Tell us a little bit of like this. You can't skip past the Metatron thing. I've always been fascinated. I'm really fascinated in like different mythologies and the whole angel realm and the different angels and the archangels to the lower realms. What was this experience with Metatron? What did he look like, or how did you experience this?
This one was actually the individual I was working with. She was actually just finishing up everything. We were working on what we were closing out on for me and dealing with stuff. And the next thing she goes, it's like, Metatron's here and he has some message for you. And she basically came out and said, okay, he wants you to create a pair of anklets. It has to be made from a tensor ring. It has to have these 5 crystals in it. It has to be covered in a copper mesh. I'm like, okay. That's kind of interesting. So I'm like, it took me about 1.5 years to figure out, those exact details into an anklet. And the description that came along right after that is it's so that you can keep your vibration yours while we go through these times. So, and that was really kind of okay, what does that mean? And I'm like, I'm not spiritual. I'm not energetic at the time. I'm still trying to figure out who I am, trying to go through all the family restructuring, kind of stuff. And a little bit further down the road, we met this lady in San Francisco who has a better visualization of what energy looks like when you're interacting with it. And she tried the anklet. She goes, okay. She told me, it's like, okay, so if you visualize your energy as an energy donut, like, your Heart Math Institute shows, it's like you have an energy field coming off your heart, looks like a giant donut.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a bi-directional donut, by the way, so energy coming in through your crown chakra and coming in through your root chakra. She goes, okay, so now you understand that. Now, take that and put a cork on the top and bottom. So now the energy, instead of coming into your crown chakra, is just rotating over the field. So if kind of a strange way of looking at it, it takes your energy field and turns it into a shield. It does not allow energy into your field. And your torus field can be very large.
It's like closing the circuit, kind of.
It closes the circuit down so that the energy coming in from other people and anything around you comes in, it bounces off your field, and then it rotates in through the torus, in through your crown chakra, and that's how you feel the environment. Same thing with the root chakra. So when you put these on, it closes that down. The other attributes of the anklet was because the tensor ring it was made from is grounding. It just feels very, very grounding. So you put them on, you feel like your feet are in the ground. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And they balance your chakras. The tensor ring has that effect. So balancing and grounding, and then all of a sudden you're closing your field down. So it's like an energetic cone of silence. If you're in a room full of people, it just gets quiet and you don't understand how. Because it's still loud, and you can still see everybody, but it got quiet. And that's where Metatron, this is the stuff that he brought in. I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool.
Did he say why he asked you to do it?
Nope, he did not say why. I figured out how to do it about 1.5 years later, got it all designed out and built. And then about 2 years after I was told how to do it, I got scolded for not creating them. I was in the middle of all this family reorganization. Yeah. It's time to deal with all of that paperwork. And I got scolded. It's like, and my wife now actually came over and said, it's like, these higher dimensional beings that came in and basically said, you really need to start making those tools now. Because I was supposed to make them when I started getting the information. So it was one of those things.
It's like, I'm getting to it. I'm getting to it.
Yeah, I'm kind of busy with life in the ground in 3D. Yeah. Get through some stuff here. So I did get through that. But then we got to, I was testing them out with different people, having experienced them. And then we had my accountant actually doing them, because there's actually one of those things. It's like, when you're working with an accountant, what is their biggest thing? They're dealing with people, especially during tax time, that are very emotional, and they're projecting their energy everywhere because, for one, it's money and it's government.
Yeah.
So there are two things that they don't want to really have to deal with in one place, and she's getting the brunt of it.
Yeah.
So she wore them for 3 days, and she goes, "They work great. I just can't wear them. My husband won't let me."
Why?
And I was like, "Oh, you gotta be kidding me!" Well, it was one of those things. It was more of like, he must be like the football and big 4x4 truck kind of guy. And it's like,
She could have just not told him what they were. She's like, "Don't you like my jewelry? They're just jewelry."
I don't know. She must
probably
have
trying to
said-
sell him on it.
Yeah, probably.
That's probably what it was. But an accountant is a very analytical person usually, and give it to somebody, give it a shot. Maybe it's not in the firmament, or the spiritual realm so much.
Yep.
I mean, just dealing with everyday life and see how it affects them is a good idea. Because that's what you're trying to do, is like change the energy. That's the thing. When they say you need it now, we need it now for the times we're in. Yeah, we're being bombarded. I'm not one of those 5G conspiracy people, but I don't think us pumping 5G out there is the greatest idea either.
We are, yeah. If you look at the what is it, Yagamoto, whatever his name is, the Japanese scientist who works with water. And if you actually, whether you believe in the energies of these different frequencies or not, he's actually shown the different designs of the ice samples of those different frequencies in water. And it's more distorted when you're dealing with anything that's not harmonic, not in the nature of
electronics.
Yeah, electronics, microwave, and
Cell
hard
phone.
rock and all those things.
I'm surrounded by like EMF right now. Like you
Yeah.
got cell phones, mixing boards, computers, tablets. Yeah.
And if that's the case, we are mostly water. Just thinking of it that way.
Oh yeah.
So you may not have all the evidence in front of us, but we do have a lot of evidence showing, indirectly that, okay, well, if water affects this way and we are mostly water, you can kind of put the two together. That, it's where we're trying to get there. So showing that this type of information and these type of tools can possibly keep this stuff at bay is kind of what I think he was trying to portray and bring out the information to help people protect their energy.
I feel like I've the years of doing the show and my years of interest in the paranormal field, that people are like, we're going through an awakening and people are waking up. I'm like, I hear you. I think people are. I've had my experiences. I see it with others. There's definitely more spiritual, but I think it's hindered by the environment and the EMF and the toxins in our food and water. There's so many things bombarding us that we're trying to I feel it's intentional. Like we're being intentionally trying to keep us from spiritually growing.
It is. It absolutely is. And one of the things I noticed earlier on when I was actually creating these tools, of course, I'm wearing them, right? It's like I make them, I wear them. And one of the things I noticed, it's like when I started paying attention to the media, it was more like I could cut through the BS. It was just like because most of the news nowadays is not news. It's more of a commentary. It's somebody's opinion on something else. It's like this expert and this expert and this expert. It's their opinion.
Yeah,
they're not showing you
how many of those experts got
data.
it wrong on COVID and so many things.
Right, but they're not showing you the data. They're telling you their opinions. So when you start utilizing your own understanding, your own intuitions without the influence of those energies that they're projecting, you become more internally understanding of. Your compass comes in and goes, no, that doesn't feel right.
My compass is always on that if I watch mainstream media, which is never anymore. But the clips I've seen, I'm like, no, screw you. You're full of it. But it doesn't take a genius. I think people are waking up to that idea that the mainstream narratives on a lot of things is a bunch of bullcrap that they don't really know what the hell they're talking about. News used to be a money loser. It didn't make money
to talk about, and what they get paid to promote.
And now news is a propaganda machine for pharmaceutical, war machine, you name it. If there's some way to make money, that's what they're trying to do with it, because otherwise it doesn't make money. It loses money. Nobody they did the news as a public service back in the day. It's when we had Walter Cronkite and they gave us news, actual news, not propaganda.
Yeah, well, when you find out that all of a sudden now you don't have any journalists getting sued because they brought out a news story that was detrimental to their company, you don't see that anymore.
No.
You don't get that kind of the journalists getting taken going after. Now everybody's saying the
They're
exact
working
same
for him.
Oh, I love watching those videos where you have 50 or 60 different journalists, different radio, TV stations all over the country, all saying
the same
exact
line.
same word.
Same line. They'll start out with, I mean, watch it, people. You can find so many of these videos where they're giving you the same script. All these local news networks.
Yeah.
And it's funny to watch these reporters say it all at once or at different times, and they're all trying to sound so genuine and so coming from them in the heart, and it's just a total script.
Or you can copy and paste a headline, just put it in the browser, and you'll see 15 other news articles with the same exact headline,
And now they have AI that just writes the articles for them. And soon, because they've already tested this out in like Japan and China and stuff like that, your newscasters won't even be real. They'll just be AI. They'll be AI generated. They're going to tell you the news. They don't even have to worry about a person faking it.
Yep.
They can just have AI do it.
Yes. So yeah, that's one of the things is we need to actually take our power back. And part of that is our own energies first. Because right now, if you can actually be convinced that all these other things that are not true, that are true, the falsities that are true, from all of the food additives are good for you, or all this, like we talked about before we went on, it's like all this food stuff that's bad for you. And they're trying to tell you, oh, this is all whole food, this is good for you, but you look at the ingredients, it's like
bioengineered. I can't, dude. I was griping to Peter before the show. I went. I had to stop at a gas station to get some buns, and I'm like, all they have is Hostess buns, and I know Hostess is bad, but I'm like, grabbed them, and then I'm getting ready to make my lunch, take to work, and I look at the package. I'm like, these buns feel weird. They even smell weird, but the expiration's not that. But they feel weird. And I look at the back, made with bioengineered product. I'm like, throw it in the garbage. Just like Hellman's mayonnaise. I know all these things aren't great for me to eat, but I'm trying to eat the ones that aren't bioengineered, but they're literally, dude, can't buy donuts now without aluminum sulfate in it. Like aluminum in your food.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, this is what we got to stop. We have to have our cognitive faculties first. Once we can actually, have self-determination, then the food choices come in, then the medical choices come in. All these other things come in once you actually get your mind back. Once you get the energy clear from the manipulation. And it's one of those things, I'm not sure if I always talk about this one moment in one movie, but it was the best graphical illustration of personal energy I've ever seen in a movie or TV show. It was actually the Celestine Prophecy.
They didn't make a movie of that? I never saw. I read the book, but they made a movie of it?
There's a movie out there about it. Yep. And
I'd like to see that.
He went to Peru and went to the secret garden type place. And he was getting introduced to the environment, this really nice estate. And this lady was giving him a tour. They come into this garden area, and this really cute young lady sitting on this bench, and he sees her, and he's like, "Oh, she's cute." And the lady is giving a tour. So why don't you go over and say hi? And he goes over and tries to be like all suave and try to bring up all this other stuff. And what you see is the lady who's giving the tour, her perspective on his energy projection over her. And you actually see how he's trying to convince her that, his idea or his perspective is right. And it was like the first time you've ever seen it. It was actually like, it's kind of an eye opener to see like that on screen. I was like, I had never ever thought of it that way. And they show it more than once in the movie, but it's just like, okay, that was a real eye opener. And that's the perception of energy. And later on in the movie, actually, it's one of the persons, like more of a government official, trying to project the energy over that gentleman. And now he feels how that energy feels, and he's like, that doesn't feel very good. But that's how we are right now under the guise of all of this misinformation and the energy that they're projecting.
Not only misinformation, they're putting us, everybody is feeling the crunch of inflation. Everybody is feeling like, the doomsday war crap going on, and they're trying to get us in a state, I believe, of fear and anxiety. Because when you're fearful and you're anxiety, you're stupid
and confused.
You make bad decisions, stupid decisions, and you'll be like, save me, be my master. We'll give up our freedoms. We'll do stupid things as a collective. You know, and I think the toxic food and all that stuff that they're pumping full of us is to get us as stupid as possible. And I don't know about you people, but I see a lot of stupid out there. A lot of stupid.
It's getting
Yes.
worse every day.
I feel like Idiocracy is a predictive movie. So,
For real.
you know, if you've never seen Idiocracy, you should. It's funny, but it's not when you realize how we're heading down that road so quick.
We're on that road.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the actual scientific things that's going on right now, it's kind of interesting, is I'm not sure if you've been understanding what's going on with the actual planet. Our electromagnetic field has been dropping. The
Human
strength
resonance.
No, not the Schumann resonance. Our electromagnetic field.
Electromagnetic sphere. Yes.
Yes, it's been dropping for, they've actually been saying it's, last time they actually released information, it dropped like 15-20%, but that was in like 1910, or not 2010, 2015, something like that. And we're down even more now.
Some people think it'll lead to a pole shift.
Well, we're going to move, magnetic pole shift is for sure. That's going to happen. But it's getting weak enough now where we're actually getting aurora in Arizona, Texas, Greece, Turkey, and it's coming down quite a way. I mean, that means our electromagnetic field is not holding that energy at that higher latitude. It's coming down. So if you look at, there's a lot of literature out there showing that this amount of radiation that's coming into our planet, the weakening electromagnetic field, really disables people's logical prefrontal cortex kind of, constructs. If you don't focus your energy and focus your brain, you're going to lose control. You're not going to be able to function properly. And you're seeing a lot of that.
Yeah. And it could affect your health. I mean, there's a great book I read many, many years ago about Akhenaten and the Egyptians and 33,000 years ago, whatever, that they had birth rates went way down and famine and all these things happened. It was at a time that our electromagnetic sphere was really low, and that we were getting bombarded by basically radiation.
Yes. And we're going through that now.
Right. And they do say birth rates are down. You hear all this stuff about we're overpopulated and all this stuff, and really birth rates are way down across worldwide, even before COVID.
I think the stuff that they're doing also to, combat the climate crisis and everything, all these particles and heavy metals, everything they're putting up into the stratosphere to reflect, sunlight here and there. That can't be good for things too. That's got to be affecting this stuff somehow.
I mean, would you hear Bill Gates wants to do that? Yeah.
Well, he is. Yeah.
His evil little genius. Lord, I said his name. Thou shalt not be named. It's on YouTube. It's like automatic demonetization.
I think Dr. Evil, when they say Dr. Bill Gates.
Yes, Dr. Evil. Him and Carl Schwab. Yeah, they should do this every time they talk. They really should. Because Carl Schwab, I'm waiting for him to do it. Dude wears like the Dr. Evil outfit. Does he not? Dude, he just one last step. All he needs to do is go. That's all, and have a white cat in his lap or something. That's how they like this. Just two more things you need to do, and you got the look. You got the Dr. Evil look, buddy.
Yes. So yes, this is the world we're in right now. So I think this is what Metatron was trying to say, is to protect your energy. So if we think about having this weakening magnetic field, people kind of losing their mental capacities, all this electromagnetic, wash we're going through right now too, because they're filling every frequency. And if, once they shut one down, they just turn it over to another product and it's getting used there anyway. So all of our different electromagnetic field spectrums are being used. I saw a comment going, what about UHF? It's all frequencies.
And
and I don't know.
All the technologies are buying for the different frequencies, basically.
Yeah, I don't know what the pendants will actually block. I do know we have the anecdotal evidence of that cell phone meter, the meter, the EMF meter, testing that. Right, but I don't know what meter that was. I don't know what he was testing at. Was it 3G, 4G, 5G? I don't have that information. It was
it depends on the meter. Tri-field meter, you're going to be able to pick up all a number of levels of different frequencies. If you have just like a regular EMF gauze or a K2, you're in a more shortened band, basically, that you're trying to pick up. But the tri-field, you can kind of figure out where you're at, cell phone, radio, where you're at frequency wise.
Right, but we didn't have access to the meter. It was just my friend Tom. He was there, and it just
Yeah.
went quiet. They put it up to his pendant, so I don't know the details of the meter.
It'd be, you know, what it would. This is what I would do to test. You can get, you can build one. Be careful. Don't recommend that at home. You can build an EM pump, or just get a BlackBerry, man. Remember those things? Those things were an EM pump. Those things give us so much electric. Just to get an alarm clock. That's almost an EM pump in itself. You hold up a Gauss meter to that. It's, you know, within the vicinity of the alarm clock. It's a lot. You know, 160 milligauss. You know, it can go way up there. Get a tri-field meter. Figure out what frequency you're getting, what it's putting out, and then bring that tensor ring into it. And see if it like actually shuts that field down. You don't want to ever move a tri-field meter. You need it sitting stationary. You know, get it in the field range, and then bring that tensor ring in there. See if it actually shuts the field down. That's what I'd be interested to see happen.
They actually have evidence of this. This is actually what Slim Sperling was doing, and I believe Sage was also doing. That they were taking the tensor rings and like taking ones about 6 to 7 inches, I think it is, and actually putting it over the smart meters. And it neutralized the smart meter. They were actually putting them on the big box transformers that
It's like its own Faraday cage almost.
Well, the energy produced by the tensor ring seems to negate or put in harmony the energy frequencies instead of having a disharmonics.
Right.
It's like, if the way electricity works, it's like when you start drawing off an AC line, it doesn't have a nice sine wave anymore. It gets distorted. The more you use, the more it gets distorted. So the less efficient that 60 hertz gets.
Right.
Right. So what I'm trying to, we haven't actually gotten the scientific study on it, but from what these guys are showing, it seems to show that it does create it into a more harmonic frequency. So it may actually put the sine wave back into orientation. I don't know.
That'd be interesting if you could test that and see it and work that way. Like actually test it with trying to think of what the meter you would need to see it actually change a frequency like that.
Yeah. No, there's a whole bunch of. I'd love to get some scientific studies done on this stuff, because the stuff that I know, Slim Sperling had his friend who was a physicist, so they did a bunch of studies on that, and they were in his biography and autobiography. They have a bunch of information in there. And I know some of the other places. There's a book out there called Dances with Water that they actually did some studies with tensor rings with water. And there's a book, I can't remember, The Miracle of Water, I think it is. It's actually a documentary on Gaia, where these Russian scientists go up into Guatemala or Ecuador or whatever it is, and go up on one of the plateaus and test the water. It's super high energy. Super clean, super high energy. And then they test the water all over the place, and they do a bunch of other things. And then they show that the energy of the water that Yagamoto's doing over in Japan, and they do a bunch of stuff.
I've heard of this, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, what the Dances with Water ladies, what they did is they actually showed the energy using that Kirlian photography in the water without a tensor ring and with a tensor ring. And they were showing that they actually increased the energy of water by just having it sitting in a glass inside of a tensor ring. They were actually be able to change the pH of the water and the chemical compounds in the water by just letting it sit in a tensor ring.
I know they've done experiments with people actually doing their intent and thought into water and seeing results with that too. So that's interesting.
Yeah. So these are intention tools. Like you can tell it with a thought do. So these, you could tell them what to do. And the tensor rings will have their base program. Like the pendants, like the multidimensional here has the smaller one in the middle is your star chakra. So that one's actually the one that helps ground you and balance your chakras. So that one, it's here. Yeah, it's opening this one, but it's keeping you here. It's like you're here for something. You better stay here. Focus. Then you have your third eye giving you your vision back, clearing that out, and then of course your star chakra, allowing the connection.
And so like you said, when you make these things, you're putting an intent into them as you make them. Like this is the purpose of this that I'm making. Yeah, basically, like it's going to serve this purpose for somebody. It's like you're kind of putting your intent in it when you make it, right?
Well, that's actually kind of these things take so many hours to create, and it's
Yeah.
it's like this one, this here, the multidimensional ring would probably have like 60 or 70 steps to do, just to make a pendant. Is to go from straight copper and resin and crystals to making this thing work. You have all that copper work to do just to get there. And when I do the copper work originally, what I'll do is I'll be saying like an intention on it when I'm actually spinning the copper. And once the copper is spun, we'll put that down, and then from there we'll actually decide, well, okay, what are we going to be making with it today? It's like, is this going to be, a lost cubit, which is the one we make the Michael out of, which is based on the heart and emotional field. So are we going to do that to one? Okay, so then at that point we start setting the intention of creating that particular ring, and then we cut them exactly the same length every single time.
Yeah.
So and they're cut to the thousandths as best we can. So we cut it down to there, and then we actually clean them up and then weld them back on, and then do a whole bunch of other copper work before we can even put it into a pendant.
I noticed you have like the pyramid behind you there. Is that what that is? You have like a pyramid?
Yes, copper pyramid. Yeah, that's a
Copper
Giza.
pyramid.
Yep.
Because I've had people talk about that too, is the power of the pyramid and that too. It's so, I mean, there's so much we can do to change like our frequencies around us, and like I said, we're being bombarded in like a toxic soup here we live in. Yes. That we need to like kind of like harness these like ancient technologies that people use. You hear like Atlantis, they had crystals and technology. Oh wow, holy God! Hold on, I want to see. Holy wow! Did you build that?
Yes, that's
wow, Peter.
About six and a half feet tall, but it's got a 10-foot by 10-foot base. It takes up a room. And we have the Merkaba inside that amplifies the pyramid's energy about tenfold, and then we have the tensor rings on it, creating vortexes of energy when you're inside of the pyramid down below. It's like, if you look right behind me, the chair we have in there.
I was telling you how, as an Art Bell fan, I remember him talking about going to the pyramids. And I've had Mike Ricksecker on, who goes there. He's trying to get me to go on a trip on one of his trips to the pyramids. I'd love to go. I can't afford it. But how, when they step into the pyramid, like maybe it's just knowing it's a pyramid or whatever. But I remember Art saying like you could feel the energy.
There is energy. We just came back from Egypt. We were there in September, at the end of September.
You guys all make me jealous. I want to go.
You can feel the energy of the machine, yes, and it's very palpable. Egypt itself is kind of it's a polarizing place. You have these beautiful, massive, energetic structures, but then you have the environment that people are living in. So it's very much of a it's like one way or the other. It's really, you need to actually get more of a balance in that, especially in that country. But when you actually get into some of these places, you can feel the energy of the actual structure. And, if you look at the design and the materials and the craftsmanship and granite, it's like, really? Oh yeah, copper chisels. Yeah, that ain't happening.
Yeah. We can get into that. We got to go to commercial break, so we're getting sucked in. I already ran past my commercial break time. We're gonna go to commercial break, come back with our guest Peter Benson, and we'll open up the phone lines when we come back and call into the show. Ask your questions of Peter after the short commercial break.
Conducting an experiment into the combined effects of sensory deprivation and hallucinatory drugs. The subject of the experiment is himself, and the experiment is out of control. Ken Russell's Altered States, a film that must not be missed, is in the West End now. Altered States, Certificate X.
Do you wish for more paranormal and spiritual content? The Paranormal Chronicles magazine is a free digital magazine crammed with the very best in paranormal and spiritual articles and features. No sign-up, no subscription, just free reading and knowledge for you. Read today at www.paranormalchronicles.com. paranormalchronicles.com/magazine.
Join us every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time for Weird Wednesday, the live stream, with your hosts Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom, where we'll talk about all things paranormal, including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do Voices from Beyond, the Cold Case Files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
Paranation Magazine is a new paranormal magazine based out of Denver, Colorado. Our goal isn't just to give you the best paranormal content out there, but to promote paranormal unity. We're doing this by giving everyone an opportunity to tell their stories and to share their experiences. For more information, follow us on Facebook at Paranation Magazine and soon, paranationmag.com.
I've Never Met a Dead Person I Didn't Like is the extraordinary travels of a young, alone, and broke psychic in the highly anticipated new book from internationally renowned psychic, medium, medical intuitive, and best-selling author Sherry Dillard. Critics have described I've Never Met a Dead Person I Didn't Like as an engrossing memoir, an empowering story of how a broken girl came to accept her psychic gift, a refreshing and fun read. I've Never Met a Dead Person I Didn't Like is available through Amazon, Kindle, Barnes & Noble, and wherever books are sold.
Wrote Spirits of the Dead with a pen dipped in warm blood. You will see the ultimate in terror with this important all-star cast. Brigitte Bardot, Alain Delon, Jane Fonda, Terence Stamp, and Peter Fonda in Edgar Allan Poe's Spirits of the Dead. Only Poe's demented genius could bring to the screen such horror and evil. Spirits of the Dead stars Brigitte Bardot, Alain Delon, Jane Fonda, Terence Stamp, and Peter Fonda. Directed by three masters of the cinema, Federico Fellini, Louis Malle, and Roger Vadim. Spirits of the Dead is an adventure in terror beyond your wildest nightmares. Spirits of the Dead in color is rated R.
Please, Spock, do me a favor. And don't say it's fascinating. No. But it is interesting.
You're listening to Paranormal Soup, bringing you the weird every Sunday night. Call into the show and join the discussion. The call-in lines are 219-230-4444 or 260-225-9419 or by Skype caller ID 00JBland00 or JBland Paranormal Soup. And now to your host, Jason Bland.
Tonight's guest is Peter Benson. We're talking about his Tensor technology, Tensor rings, amulets that you can wear will change your energy. He's got a lot of testimonials on his website. You got to go to energyofservice.com to check out his different products that he has. And you know, we're not trying to make this sound like like you said, like a telemarketer or not, whatever. Yeah, what are those commercials? You know, like not at all. But it's this energy that I'm interested in, and you know how I believe these kind of devices, these kind of I already know that stones can affect your energy, you know, crystals and all that. We've talked about that. We've had guests on. And this is something new to me that I'm totally interested in learning about. And if you got questions, let me make sure the phone lines are open. You can call in, join the conversation, ask questions of our guest Peter tonight. But let's go ahead and get back to our guest. All right, sorry to cut you off there before, Peter. I ran over, getting deep into it here, and I'm ran past my commercial break. But the phone lines are open. Let me get the banner up too for people who are on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can see the phone number there. It's also in the show description for those listening. Hopefully, you caught those phone numbers. But call in, ask questions of our guest Peter Benson tonight. All right, so where were we? Sure.
Yeah, we were talking about a little bit about Egypt and
Egypt. Yes.
Yeah. One of the things we did notice is the energies there. They're very chaotic in different places. It's very positive in some and very negative in others.
Well, it is the Middle East, so
yeah. Well, I mean, they have that.
Got a lot going on. Yeah.
We have that in some of our hot spots too. You know, it's like Shasta has some really good spots and bad spots, and Sedona.
Oh, Mount Shasta.
Yeah.
It has bad spots.
Yeah. You know, there's some bad energy areas, and it's like Sedona actually has a couple negative portals too.
Really?
There's quite a few positive portals, but there's also some negative portals there.
I guess when you have that much positive energy, there's got to be like the negative to it, you know, or the yin and yang.
Right now, there is. It's just one of those things right now where we're in the actual. If you understand the energies that we're talking about are outside of our physical purview, where we can't really understand them unless you can, feel them. It's more of an experience than understanding what they really are, unless you've been born with those, with that sensory perception where you can feel it or see it or, smell it, hear it, whatever.
I know I can feel. There's certain things like I've always felt empathic to, like when I'd be a kid in high school and there'd be a fight and everybody'd stand up like, ooh, ah, and I'd be like, I feel sick. Like when I get negative energy from people, especially anger or that, it makes me sick to my stomach, like in the core of my stomach. Like I've always had trouble with that, with people fighting and that.
Yeah, I've had the same thing. It's like I'm a water sign, so basically, if you go by that kind of, it's like I absorb everybody's, and I end up boiling over, and that's what happens to me. I end up holding and holding and holding, and then
you're one of those. Like you just let it go. You're like, calm. Peter never says a word mean or whatever, and next thing you know, you're like, you.
It takes a long time to boil the water, but air usually it'll take you really, get you wound up real quick, and then you come back down.
Yeah, I go off, and then I'm like, okay, we're cool.
Yeah.
I'm Earth, so I'm kind of similar to you. I'll be pretty patient and quiet for a long time, Taurus, and then when I've had it, everybody knows about it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you know about it when you hit that limit. There's a limit.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the energies that you're absorbing. So I mean, everybody can do the barriers and the shields. Everybody can do this, and I'm not saying you need a tool like the pendant to do this. Everybody can do those things. Everybody can. It's just like, okay, you just visualize an energy field up, like visualize this golden field, a bubble of energy around you, not allowing anything in. This is source energy protecting you, and you can focus there. And as long as you can maintain that intention and that feeling, the understanding,
that's the hard part.
It'll stay. So what I've been actually getting, and I have concrete a referral from a client that really put it to the point. I tell people it's like when you're actually wearing the pendant, you feel that energy. You understand the feeling of being protected. So you don't have to actually put that bubble up to understand what it is. You feel it. You understand it. So what you do is when you put it on, you feel it. And in order to get this to program yourself faster, you just basically say, okay, this is...
It helps give you a mental reinforcement to the protection.
Right.
We do have somebody on the phone line I want to get to here before I lose them. 860 area code. Who do we got?
Hi, it's Adrian from Connecticut.
Hey, Adrian.
Hi. I missed the first hour of the show, but I did check up. I went to a website it says superpowerexperts.com, and I did some reading. I think that's you, right, Peter?
No.
No.
Energies of service.
.com.
Okay, Energies of Service. Boy, because the name was there, your name.
You better check that out, Peter.
But
Somebody might be catfishing you on there.
Okay. Yeah. Well, anyways, when you're talking about an energy field, I totally would vouch for that. Like, this keeps your guard up when you let your guard down. But working with an outside energy field, I'm familiar with working with crystals, and I have a couple of true Vogel cut. And what they do is remove negative patterns from your energy field. So what I was curious about is what kind of crystal is in your pendants and ankle bracelets, etc. Anything special?
Well, the core, basically the anklets where everything pretty much started was Metatron, and then Michael came in, said he wanted one. Shemuel came in, said she wanted one, or he wanted one. You know, not being male.
Angels got to have their bling, man.
Yeah, they got to have their bling. Well, they wanted the representation of the energies, is what it was.
Yeah.
But the Metatron is Tanzanite, Morganite, Lapis Lazuli, Black Onyx, and Tiger Eye. And I would have never put those together in my life, ever to put those together. And I hadn't heard of Morganite or Tanzanite when I got the list. I'm like, I have to go look those up. So it's like,
that's a really good combination.
Yeah, put them together, and you'll actually that generates a field that protects you. The tensor ring, what it does, is the size. So what the tensor field does is the crystals are in that field, and the tensor ring amplifies the energy of those 5 crystals. So instead of carrying around 5 pounds, is what it feels like, of 5 pounds of crystals, you're only wearing a very little bit, but it's equating to the energy of like a 5 pounds of crystals with you.
Oh, that's fantastic, and it just radiates out. All right, so I'm going to check out that other site, energyofservice.com, while I listen and learn more about them. I'm very intrigued by these.
You need to do like a Google search on yourself there, Peter, and make sure somebody's not catfishing your site. I'm not serious. That stuff happens all the time.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, there was a Superpower Experts. That's what it was
Superpower
called.
Experts. I'm glad that's not your site. I'm glad that's not your site.
I saw a couple too when I was looking him up that they had mentioned his name in it, but I couldn't find an affiliation to him to the actual site, but they were advertising for him.
There's a couple that do have my stuff.
Could be, because it did.
Oh, they might be advertising for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I totally believe in removing existing patterns with the crystals and different energy fields, because I have healed with these Vogel crystals, and that's exactly what they do. It was miraculous.
And my wife has always been a big believer in all the crystals and the stones.
Yeah. I was doubting it was real, but it's happened more than once.
She's
and
convinced me.
It's real stuff.
It is real.
All right, well, thank you so much for your info.
You're welcome.
All
Thank
right,
you
have
so
a good
much.
night, all.
Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you.
What happens if somebody builds like what's the biggest tensor ring you've built?
Okay, so I've made, it is approximately, what is it, 25 foot?
Cool.
25 foot diameter, and it's about
when you can
7.5,
walk through.
8 foot wide. Oh, it's like, this is the first one that literally made me jump when I brazed it together, because I had to put it in a vise, and because this thing was massive, it was all over the room. It was just so big. So I had it in a vise, I had a clamp to the bench, and I'm trying to put it together. And the minute I actually brazed it together, I'm like, holy crap! I jumped. It was so powerful. It literally was like, whoop, and then all the hair stuck up on my back of my neck, and I'm like, oh! And I stood out of it. I'm like, okay, I wasn't expecting that.
A little too much. You still have it?
Oh, yeah, I still do have it. Yes, I do. I actually, take one of those the sunshades, the big rings and sunshades. You just twist it, flip it over, and make it small. That's what I did. It's right now. It's actually folded down. It's in the garage right now in the shop.
You're always like, I know they said to start making this stuff, but not the really big one. Get it out of my room.
Yeah. We actually used one for a friend of mine who was actually creating a what do you want to call it, an energy center, kind of like a labyrinth type energy center, and she has one of those for it in the middle of it, and it's just like you can walk into it. Yeah.
That's what I was wondering. Like, if you made one, you could walk into like a Stargate. Like feel like the field or the energy. Because I don't know about you, I've walked into haunted locations, and I've walked into locations that people thought were haunted, but there was really like bad electromagnetic fear cage. You can feel that kind of energy. You can feel the haunted energy. You can feel, it's like it's an oppression of like a pressure. You feel,
Yes, I felt that myself. Years ago, I was renting a room. This house was really old house. Had the widow's walk on the roof. Right. This is how old the house was.
Yeah.
It's literally rock foundation. And I rented one of the rooms, and the basement was a storage area. But the minute you go into the basement, if you went to the back wall, back where the back stairway is, you couldn't get within 10, 15 feet of that stairway. You just felt like, it's like the Eddie Murphy get out energy. And it felt, it made your skin crawl and all kinds of. I felt it before. I'm like, okay, there's an energy there that does not want to be bothered.
I felt that from a person more than once. Have you ever felt that energy coming off of a person? I have.
Yeah. Not necessarily a person, but I've gotten some pretty nasty vibes from people before.
Yeah, I have. Like, I had this neighbor, and he was getting into crystals and all this stuff and the occult, and nothing wrong with that, right? But it is when you're heavily have an alcoholic problem, an abuse problem, not a good combination. He left, his girlfriend kicked him out, whatever, and I ran into him and his new girlfriend in a parking lot, and like immediately, how I said like I get that sick feeling with a fight or aggression? I got that with him, and him and his girlfriend were like, hi, Evan, how you been? And I'm like, oh, I'm good, I gotta go, I got groceries, yay. And I get in the car and take off and like get home, and like 30 minutes later, knock, 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 him and his girlfriend are at my door. Hi, we thought we'd just stop by so we could talk more since you were in a hurry. I'm like, oh yeah, but I had to drop off the groceries. I gotta go. Like, I couldn't do anything quick enough to get away from him. And I didn't feel this from him before when he was my neighbor. I just felt like a guy's got a substance abuse problem, and he's really into the spiritual stuff, and hopefully that helps him get over his addiction problem. No. He got into some other issue. I don't know what it was. Whatever the energy coming off of him made me sick. And I've had some other people like that in my life. Like, some people I couldn't pinpoint it. They seemed like a generally nice person, but I'm around them and I feel sick. It's like in that same haunted oppression. I can feel it.
Yeah.
It's like a oppression wave on me.
Yeah. People actually, if somebody has a substance abuse problem, especially alcohol, it's, they call it spirits for a reason. You're prone to attachments, especially of a negative entity type, and they will attach to you, and it can be more than one, and they can be really nasty.
I don't like bars for that reason, I think, because like I feel it at a lot of bars. I feel that it's like just a hint of it most of the time at bars. Some I've had actually a little bit of the oppressive feeling, but it's like the hint of that oppressive feeling I feel at bars. Like there are things lurking around waiting to attach to people.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that. No, we've seen that with people with attachments and all that. And there's things you can do to clear yourself of those attachments, but you have to stay very, informed about your own resonance. And the thing is, it's like you can't remove an entity from somebody else without their permission, or at least permission from their higher selves, because it may be part of their path. You never know.
Your life lesson. Your life lesson's to have your head spin around and puke out pea soup. I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope that's not part of somebody's life lesson, but maybe it is. I've heard that they, their higher self, you can't just remove something without their permission or their higher self permission.
Right.
Right. But if somebody had like an attachment and they put on one of these amulets, like the Michael or something like that, what do you think would be the effect?
Okay, so these pendants right now, I'm actually I have a design for an entity protection pendant.
Oh.
So I do have one. It's in the process. I just need to actually work out the kinks in the production side of things in order to I can make it one at a time. And it just takes way too much time to actually braise everything together in order to make it make it work. It's just
not like you got a sweatshop back there.
No, I don't got. So,
I need 100 pendants. Just did a show on Paranormal Soup. They're all ordering. I need 100 pendants. Get your little hands working. No,
yes.
you're doing these. You're making it yourself.
Yeah. Yes, I am. So I'm working on creating like a form, like a ceramic form, so I can actually put the copper in it, put the solder on it, put the piece on it, so that actually, and then heat it so it'll actually all raise into one place and all be exactly the same every time. So I'm still working
Yeah,
on that.
you can't
piece.
do that with a machine. You can't make a 3D printer that's going to do that for you, or
Nope.
or
I got printers,
sweatshop.
but but that is there, and I do have a prayer that it can actually remove an entity from yourself if you wanted to, or a family member if you have their permission. Again, you have to have their permission, and it does work. We've actually removed things from folks.
That's what I was
That
wondering.
is
Like,
actually
I mean, this
it's a
kind
real
of
thing.
power, this kind energy. I mean, I wouldn't think it. When you have a negative entity attached, it's something foreign. It shouldn't be there. Just like your body's immune system, your energy system, I would think has some kind of counter attack to it, or tries. It's not natural. It's trying to push it out. So you give it anything to help. Would be some kind of effect.
Well, that's true. Like a friend of mine went in for surgery, and he took his protection pendant off, and this is the gentleman who helped me design this pendant. And he took it off because surgery, you can't have any jewelry. He was in surgery, and he woke up, and he put everything on, went home, didn't clear himself first. In the next 2 weeks, all of a sudden now his white blood cell count is dropping, and he's having problems, and all of a sudden the doctor's having concerns, and he actually went and asked a friend of his who was actually very intuitive, and she's like, "You have an entity." So took off the pendant, they cleared him, put the pendant back on. All of a sudden his blood work went right back to normal. The thing is, the entity was wrapping himself around his kidneys. Now his kidneys were not producing the enzyme to tell your bone marrow to produce those cells. It was really kind of interesting on how that worked. That's how it was supposed to be anyway. That's the story. It happened.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but it's interesting. I mean, hospitals. I lived across from one. I grew up in that one before they tore it down. Had a lot of spirits. I remember me and my wife seeing the faces of these spirits come through the wall of our haunted apartment, the first apartment we had. It was haunted, but it was like an open doorway for things. And I swear some of those things were coming from the hospital into the apartment. But I had a surgery once, and I was fearful. Like, you're putting me under. What could it attach? I mean, like, you're under drugs. You're being your energy's got to be pretty low, and you're going into surgery, and there's all these spirits around.
Yep.
Not telling people not to go to the hospital. See your doctor. Go to the hospital. Do your surgeries. Seek medical advice, please. Just get some protection, maybe.
Yeah, get some protection, and when you have to take off the tools or whatever it is that you're using, clear yourself with intentions first before you put the tools back on. But yeah, there was actually one person that actually when we found out that we had to connect, an attachment on a family member that we were clearing, we were like, okay, so what about coworkers? So we actually went through a list of our coworkers and stuff like that, and people we knew, I had a coworker who was a young kid. He was just like, I think he was 24, just out of college. He had an entity, and we were checking with his higher self, and it's like, no, this entity's there to help teach him something or learn something or be there for him. So that entity was there to be there. It was not to be removed.
Yeah, Yeah, well, that's why I don't get into the entity removal business, because you know what the hell you're doing. You get in trouble. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, but it's weird. I mean, you say an entity wrapped itself around his kidneys. This is like something non-human kind of entity, I'm guessing.
I don't know. We don't know what it was. It was just an entity, and it is an energy. And of course,
we've talked about it on the show. I believe I had my shadow person experience when I was 18. That lasted 4 months. That drove me to the brink of almost madness. The scene was very negative. Used to take me out of my body, really rip my soul out of the body, and take me on an astral journey to torture me at night. I mean, it seems physically levitated me up off my bed. So I have a total belief in negative entities, but I felt it was a parasite. It fed off my anxieties and my fear. And I've always been curious, the world we live in, how much under the reality we don't see, and, there's so many different, energy fields we can't perceive at all, where there are parasitic entities that live within that field, that feed off of our emotions or feed off of our addictions, like in the bars, and stuff like that. I mean, in Tibet, they talk about the hungry ghost. Well, I think there's not just physical or not just entities of people who passed on that are, still dealing with their addiction. I think there's entities that are non-human, that are parasitic, or I mean, we had a guest on here. I can't think of the name. I always forget. Who really freaked me out when it was a science of possession or something or science of spiritual possession was the book, and he talked about these entities like that getting in your auric field, and that some of them reproduce using your auric field. That are like leaving eggs, is what he said. And the idea of eggs, and I know it's like you can't see them, but like energy eggs of these in your field is like, ooh.
Yeah, then
that
you just
makes
think
my hair.
Going,
Yeah, yeah, but it made sense to me because I do believe there's like parasitic thing. He was like putting it out like when you have like the whole young teenager and the typical poltergeist activity that this is part of that reproduction. The reason all this activity is that they've attached this young adolescent and they're feeding off their pubescent energy, and they're reproducing, and all the poltergeist activity is really these entities' offspring reproduce. It was really interesting, fascinating concept. Yeah. But there's something going on there with our energies, Yeah.
So I'm coming up with one of those. The thing is, it's like when you're wearing it, you turn into like a lighthouse for the souls that want to go to the light. So you turn into like
that can be a bad thing sometimes, Peter.
Yeah, but what you do is you actually have to manage it. This tool, it's a tool. That's actually it's going to put up a shield. They can't touch you. Nobody can touch you. No entity can touch you when you're wearing it. Period. It's just impenetrable for them. But when you have entities that want to go back, or even those that don't, okay, even if they're like, oh, moth to a flame, here, bounce off the shield, have fun. What you do is you just do the prayer, open the portal, send them home, close the portal, and then at the end of the prayer, what you do is you close all the portals in the area. Any one, it doesn't matter, even the ones you didn't open, you close them. So that's the thing. It's like you have to make sure that all those are closed out.
So it's like a pendant for basically, I mean, with spirit crossing. I mean, I don't know, like a pendant that shields you from the spirits, but also draws them to you to like send them on the other side.
Well,
is that what it does?
It's going to protect you from them, and we have seen it where entities are coming to the individuals because they're very sensitive to it. And they see it. And they can feel the entities coming to you. And so that basically they just, it's more of like, okay, open the field. Okay, go home. Close the field. And it's just one of those things. And that's fine. It really is. It's not a big deal. It's just if you have entities coming to you for that, it's just open the portals, let them go, and then close the portals. So it's not a problem. It's more of it's more of a responsibility with this tool. So you can't just put it on and it's like, oh, isn't this nice and pretty and shiny, and just walk around your day. Yes, you're gonna be walking around with a whole bunch of coattails going on. So you got to make sure you clear it out.
So it's actually for somebody who really wants to do this kind of work.
Correct. If you're going to be like, if you're doing paranormal ghost hunting, going into these buildings and doing all this stuff, you'd put that kind of pendant on. Now you're going to be protected.
But you also have to be responsible enough to have to send the spirits on their way, right?
Correct. Unless you want to leave the building still super creepy and all that fun stuff for somebody else to experience, but
Well, my wife always said she wards the house because she said stuff follows you home. We've had some weird experiences, and she'll ward the house. And when things start to happen again, she's like, "Time to ward the house again."
Yeah.
So I definitely believe certain people attract certain things. I've had weirdness ever since I was a little kid. I mean, I've seen weird things, so I know I do attract oddness, weird things. I think this is how I got the shadow person, drawn to me.
Yeah, it's the experiences that you came in for and what you wanted to experience while you're here, and what your soul purpose is. If you don't understand what's going to happen, you just look at your life path and understand it's like, well, I have that experience, I have that experience, I have that experience. What is that leading to? Like for me, I was a mechanic. So I was working with my hands, diagnosing, doing all these different things, working with torches and metals. Then I become an engineering technician. Now I'm working with precision, return on investment, and what is the justification? Why are we doing this? Diagnosing mechanical, getting down your precision, making sure you document everything. And now all of a sudden, I have to create these tools that I'm guided by archangels for. I have to document everything and make sure everything is accurate, and recreating and be able to duplicating all this stuff. So I led from all those things to where I'm at now. So you have to look at it. It's like I had all these experiences. What is it for? So it's like, okay, so if I had this traumatic experience, okay, so now I am more compassionate to that kind of energy, or an understanding of it. So when you're talking with other people that have that possible energy or that issue, you can actually be more compassionate, understanding, and give them some understanding and maybe some compassionate help or hints or whatever you have going on to help them get through their emotional traumas. So it's
Yeah,
just that we all have our path. It's really interesting.
When you say about the path, I always find that interesting too, because I think about like all the stuff I did that led me to doing this show. Like I was a musician and singer, and then I got into sound recording because of it, being a musician singer. So I got really familiar with audio, and then I became a paranormal investigator and really into EVPs and audio. And then I got into spirit box stuff and decided, I want to do a show and I want to set all this audio stuff up. And I did video and TV, and I went to college for film. So I did broadcasting, and never thought I would be doing this, though. You know what I'm saying? I was a huge Art Bell fan, too. And I listened to Art Bell from 95, 96 on. And you never thought I'd be trying to do what he was doing, nowhere near as good. But, none of those things were in my mind, but all the elements for it were all coming together.
Yeah. Yes.
It's weird how life works that way.
It is. It's everything culminates into what you're supposed to be doing. It's your path, and everybody has one. And when it's one of those things. It's like when you're out of alignment for your path, things get difficult.
Yeah.
When on the path, things go a lot easier.
It's like you're with the flow of the force. You need to go with it, not against it. Yeah. It's hard though. That's easier said than done for a lot of people.
It is.
You think when people are wearing the pendant and that this helps align their energy so they can start getting back into that kind of flow, or at least get their mind in that set?
Well, what it does is it actually gets the interference. It's like watching a TV of like old days when you had the dial and you tune in your radio at the TV station. Then you had to actually tune it in. It's more like, okay, I'm getting rid of that interference. So now I can actually see the signal better. So it allows that to get out of your, gets the interference out of your way, allows you to see the synchronicities and the messages that are coming through better. It calms your energy down so that you're not overreacting to things. And believe it or not, our energy is influenced by everything. So when you have a tool, or if you can actually keep your field by intention up and stable, you can actually do this on your own. But these tools allow you to do this even when you stub your toe and lose your focus. Everybody has this. It's like you go to work and you have a bad day. All of a sudden now your field's down.
You react. I mean, in the general principle, what's going on in society is that's where we're at. We're worst is we're always overreacting. Everybody's always overreacting. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's emotionally reacting to the stupidest things too. And that's not good. I mean, you're never going to make a great decision or do a good thing when you're reacting to something.
Yes.
Like that.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. And it's just like, for me, this is why I wear the Shamuel all the time. I wear that pendant all the time.
And that one does what?
That is, it's like a PTSD pendant. It's stress and trauma and very much emotional purging. When you put it on, you just feel very chill, and your energy will start moving a lot, especially if you have a lot of stress or trauma in your life. And then you start working with the tool. It's like, okay, if I have, let's just say I have stress from a job or a stress from a moment in life that's creating like overlapping or recurring issues.
Yeah.
You pull that energy out by its roots. And this is how I tell everybody to do it. It's like, okay, so let's say it's a trauma. It's like let's say you have a car accident. I want to remove all the emotional trauma and all the emotional baggage by its roots from that accident. Because if you think about it, you have an accident. But then you have, either nightmares or you have medical procedures or whatever it is. You have all this extra steps in between where that accident was and where you are now. So you want to pull all those different pieces out. And if you pull it out by its roots, it's all gone. right? And if you've had past lives with similar instance, you're going to be pulling those roots out as well because you're
That's
still
interesting.
responding to that type of thing,
Well, yeah, speaking of the past life thing, I've had a lot of, I've had some very, visual dreams that I maybe complete confirmed believer in. I think innately I've always believed in past lives. I just, even as a little kid, even before, I grew up in a very agnostic kind of household. I just had a sense that we've lived before, But when I was in my 20s, I had 2 dreams, different times that were so visual, so emotional that I was totally 2 different kinds of people. One I was a little black girl, and another one I was a Buddhist monk. Totally 2 different people, but I was them in that vision. I'm Jason here. Yep. But there I was them. I'm still the same. It's like it made me let go, open up from the idea that I'm more than just this ego or self. That there's something higher, because I could be another ego or self, but still there's something innately me that's beyond this facade or those others. So I've been fascinated with the idea of past lives. I think I've always been fascinated with it, but it really excelled when I had those 2 different visions. I feel like gifts, because they really explain how I'm wired the way I am. Do you think having these pendants or having a certain kind of one could help somebody open up to some past lives, or like have a visual dream like I did?
The multidimensional is more of connecting to your higher self. At that point, your higher self has all of your past lives in there in your Akashic record kind of deal. So the multidimensional is that tool. What you can do, what we were talking about just a second ago, is actually removing the emotional traumas and stresses. Or it's like when you come into a lifetime, it's like, I want to learn this, or I want to get through this. I've always had this, like, let's say you've had a dozen lifetimes getting over alcoholism, right? And I'm getting through it this time, but I want to get through. I want to get around and pull that all out, all the energies from it. I want to remove all the trauma from it. And you basically tell the pendants, like, I want to remove all the trauma, all of it, everything that I have, all the emotional baggage, all the regret, all that, by its roots. You're going to pull all that out. In all of the memories that are stuck with an emotional context in your field. Because what will happen is when you come into this lifetime, you're going to bring that anchor. You're going to bring those emotions and that trauma with you into this field. And you can clear it in this lifetime. So it's like, I've had people do work on me, and it's like, why did you bring so much work with you? It's like I carried 15 luggages worth of lifetimes worth of crap with me. And it's like, why did you bring all that in with you? Your higher self felt they could do it. It's like, oh, that's not very helpful. But it's just like, it's just one of those things. It's just like, everybody brings this stuff in to clear. And this one, especially now, these are the lifetimes now where the energy is shifting. These times we can actually purge an awful lot in a short period of time. The energies are moving very fast.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. There's been a lot of change in the last 5, 6, 7 years, to society. But not just technology or anything like that, just perception.
Yeah, it's the human perception. It's opening, and you can tell how much we are getting more and more perceptive on things by how hard they have to actually try to break you of that concentration point. The fear, the controls, the amount they have to push in order to get you off balance is getting harder and harder and harder.
I'm not trying to get into politics, but I have to admit, I watched a mainstream news. I'm trying to remember which one it was. And the anchor was like, in literal, like, I don't know how people can believe or be this, but RFK Jr. has 22% in the polls. Why people would believe somebody is a 9/11 conspiracy person and blah blah blah, like yeah, because people are waking up, bitch. Sorry, like I wanted to yell at the TV, like I'm like go vote whoever you want, who I like. But I'm just saying, just seeing her befumbled that his percentages are so high, especially when they don't want to talk about him, and if they do, they talk about him really bad. Yeah, you're losing control. You're losing control. People aren't watching you anymore, or trusting you, or believe any of your bullcrap anymore.
Yep, and they remember the old saying. It's actually like, I think it's a World War II type saying. It's like, you're over your target when you're catching flack.
Yeah.
The amount of censorship too, when you see how hard they go to try to hide something, and the minute you post it, they already have the false flag, the flag on there saying this is false information. they're hitting my page every single day. On
What
things
they got
that
you on something stupid the other day. I didn't even understand it.
I don't. They wouldn't even tell me what it was.
I don't even understand it. And it's like, you know, information's power. I get it. Control, you know, that's what they're trying to fight. And they've lost that control, you know.
But the more they censor and try to steer that narrative, the more that should be an eye opener for people to look into.
Well, they have an invested interest when you talk about mainstream media. If you think about if you watch every commercial break, which I got rid of my cable years ago, but now it just all those commercial breaks followed me to all the streaming services.
Yep.
You know, I got my cable. I got streaming out commercials, and now they're all on this. But anyways, you still get all these commercials now, even on the streaming services, and they're all big pharmaceutical companies. They have a vested interest in you not being well because they got a bunch of drugs they need to sell you.
Yes.
So they don't want you to hear about Peter Benson's Tensor devices.
No, because all of your dis-ease is an energetic misalignment in your field. And it was back from, I think it was The Secret, or it was one of those documentaries about that time frame years ago that basically showed you that if you have an emotional charge stuck in your body, it takes years for it to manifest into the physical form. So I know we're an accelerated rate right now, so it probably is a lot shorter period at this point. But
Well, look, cancer rates are up 355%, and, you know, we got people dropping of heart attacks, and, yeah, there's something energy-wise going on. I'm just saying, obviously, chronic disease is way up in this country.
Yes.
You know.
They're also trying to take away vitamins and things now. Like, saying natural balance isn't good for you. Like, with all the proof of vitamin D and these things that are really helpful, they're now taking that away, taking cold medicines and...
Yeah, well, cold medicines can go. Most of those things are crap. Yeah. You shouldn't take them. But the vitamins are good. Zinc, vitamin C, D, you know things are getting real crooked if they're trying to take the vitamins away. Oh, yeah. And they want to take supplements away. They want to take anything natural away because they can't. So people are like, why haven't they legalized marijuana? Because it's natural. They can't patent that. They've made a synthetic THC. The big pharmaceuticals want to patent. They want to give that out. They want to make that so they can give you that. Don't take that. Don't do that.
Was it New York? If you had the plant, it was illegal, but you could have it if it was already processed and all the chemicals, everything done to it to, you know, yeah.
I mean, look at our wheat production in this country has been taken over by Monsanto. They literally made a genetic strain that infiltrated other farmers and weren't part of Monsanto, and then they wanted to turn around and say, well, that's our product. You need to pay us for the genetic strain of wheat that we don't want to eat because it's awful.
Yeah, nothing natural.
I blew off a truck.
Yeah. Now pay us. You know.
Blew off a truck. You have 15 plants on 10 to 16 feet onto your property. Those are ours. You have to pay us up. Yep.
That's where we're heading. That's what they want. They want to control, you know, anything that's natural you could grow in your backyard. It's illegal because we can't patent that. We can't make money off of that. That's why they were so right away against like the natural remedies during COVID. Whoosh, I can't talk. Ooh, gotta be quiet. Get censored for that, right? But it's what they did. They, you know, why? Because all those natural things that they called horse paste and all that, you know, because it was all cheap. It's all cheap. They can't make a lot of money off of that.
That hydrochloroquine or whatever that was, like pennies.
But no, dude, they even wanted to talk down taking vitamin C and D, which and D and zinc were the big ones. That people are deficient in vitamin D who had worse symptoms of COVID, and they want to shh. Just get your jab. You'll be good.
They're still going after vitamin D.
Yeah. I mean, this is how yeah, well, that's the thing. They want us as sick and stupid as possible, is my opinion.
Yes. Absolutely.
Watch the movie Idiocracy. I'm not just telling you. We're gonna, you know, they're gonna be like, it's Brando. It's got electrolytes. It's, you know?
Electrolytes. We've been watering the fields with electrolytes.
You want to drink water from your toilet? That's water in your toilet's like dookie goes in that, man.
I'm sorry. If you haven't seen Idiocracy, people, you really should.
But they're finding people like him, you know, people who have these alternative
Yeah,
ways
you got to
of
watch
healing.
out, Peter. they'll take your website down and ban you because, all you're doing is telling people, try to raise your vibration energy. Oh, fake news.
Yeah, that
You're killing people, Peter.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's happening to a
Yeah,
lot of people.
Yeah, well, this is why I talk to everybody as much as I can face to face. As we try to do all the different conferences and stuff like that. We do interviews all the time so that we can actually talk to everybody in different aspects of different places. I just went to an event over the weekend, and we went all the way to Colorado, Canyon City, Colorado, just so they could actually talk to like 50 people. And it's just like it's just a long way to go just to do that. But it's just like I need to talk to people, and they're all different forms. These folks are doing more of a prepper type environment, so they're not not all of them are into the spiritual or protecting your, but they're ready to protect themselves.
Yeah, and we got a lot of guns to protect ourselves back here. We're ready.
But the thing is, it's like when these guys are also, it's like if you think about it, let's just say, the shit hit the fan tomorrow. And all of a sudden, these people have guns and they have food and all this other stuff, but they're not mentally or energetically prepared to deal with everything else. What's going to happen there? You're going to have people losing their minds, literally not quite going.
You want to get locked down in a bunker with somebody like with a bunch of guns that's totally anxiety filled and ready to blow up? Yeah, no.
The one. Actually, I know I shouldn't be referencing movies, but if you go to the movie,
we do that all the time here. Yeah,
the guy loses his shit in there. It's like, sorry for the word, but the guy who loses his mind when he's under, because underwater, high pressure, he just loses it, and he knows better. Yeah, with a nuke, but he knows better. I mean,
he's a trained soldier. Oh, what's his name? The famous actor, Kyle Reese in Terminator. Great guy. Great, I love that guy.
Great actor, but it's like,
oh my God,
look at
best movies.
This is what's going to happen if things happen. People are going to lose it, and this is where you have to maintain yourself. And this is where it's like, if you keep your energy high and keep yourself, clean, like we're talking about with food, you keep yourself, protect yourself with energies, and you pay attention to what you're, putting into your body. There your energy is going to stay higher and cleaner. So when you actually expose to different things, you don't respond like we talked about before. You don't respond to things. You're already prepared mentally, emotionally, energetically. This is what's, with everything that's coming, if you look at it, it's like a lot of people have been bringing this up in all kinds of different forms I've heard. It's like, this is Armageddon. This is World War III. We're in it kind of thing. And it's just like, okay, so what the alternative definition of Armageddon is what? The unveiling. So we are getting the unveiling now, all kinds of different ways. Different information about different people doing different things, and all of it's really nasty.
Revelations shall be revealed.
Right. And we're seeing all this different stuff coming up. So, I mean, it's like, if we're going through this, and we talked about the electromagnetic field going down where people's cognitive abilities are declining, it's all kind of leading into one kind of thing. It's like, you got to keep yourself strong.
See, I'm worried about turning around, waking up one day and seeing a zombie apocalypse, because, I mean, people on their cell phones and people, the way people are like zombies already.
And all the anti-anxiety medicine that they have so many people on. So many people are like numbing themselves to all this drinking.
Oh, yeah.
Because they can't.
We talk about that.
And it's like, but, now is the time you need to be the most clear and the most alert.
No, they're putting all these kids on psychotropic drugs. And they're like so zoned out that, my channel, I get it. I don't do 20-minute videos. I'm not like the Y-Files. We were talking about that. Go check out the Y-Files. I need to get that guy on the show. Great paranormal YouTube show. He does great 20-minute videos. I know I'd have a lot more viewers if I did. I do a 3-hour show. It ain't going to get a lot of people. But you know what? The videos that outbeat me, like big time, like I beat out even Joe Rogan, and he's got the huge podcast, are these videos of just like people like brushing a cat. Or what is it like? What is it? What Jamie that they've had like just these kids like watch because they're all on Xanax and all these other like drugs are just watching people like pet something or
whispers and tongue clicks.
Or whisper, tongue clicks or popping the bubbles thing like literally an hour and a half of that or 2 hours and they got like a million views.
Watching eggs boil. They were watching people peel hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah. We're coming soon to ouch my balls. on television. People, we don't need any script or plot. We don't even need AI to write scripts anymore. We just need to kick somebody in the balls, pop bubbles, just keep the zombies occupied.
Yep. Completely not using your your prefrontal cortex, removing that completely, going down the
I mean, what is a zombie? The prefrontal cortex is dead. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm afraid of.
Yep, exactly. Well, we're there, mostly there now, especially with TikTok and the 2-second videos.
Oh,
and
don't get me started on TikTok. TikTok.
Oh yeah, it's awful. It's awful.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's like people are like, you need to do shorter videos and make more catchy stuff. I mean, like I could get a lot more viewers. I get that, but that's not why I do the show. All right, we got another phone call. Let's go ahead and take it before we go to our last commercial break. Who do we got on the line?
It's your buddy old pal Flip.
Hey, Flip.
It's been a long time. I know it's been a long time since I called in. I finally have an opportunity to watch the show, and I always tune in at the right time for some reason.
You always seem to. It always seems to be the right time for you to listen, the right topic for you. So what's drawing you in tonight? What do you got, Flip?
So, you know how my sleep is and stuff. I was kind of telling Jamie in the chat room about it. So I went and did a sleep study, and some crazies, like, for example, my heart rate when I wake up is I don't know the machine quite right, but when I wake up is anywhere from 28 to 33 is when it's all configured, and your heart rate's supposed to be anywhere from 50 to 60. And so I was wondering if maybe am I able to cross over because my heart rate's so low, right? Because that's when I wake up is, I don't know, when I'm sleeping all crazy and I fighting in my sleep, screaming. I sometimes see things,
I remember you. I mean, you had the entity, a female entity. You were having these kind of experiences with in your sleep there for a while.
Yeah, I have that, and I've seen that I've seen a entity that was I would say about 2-3 feet tall, and it had skinny fingers, and it almost looked like Schmeagol from Lord of the Rings.
You sure you're dealing with a gray alien?
I don't know what it was, because I was with a girlfriend, and she was in a sleep paralysis, and her eyes were wide open, but they were pure white. And I was trying to wake her up, and I'm screaming, and she wouldn't wake up. And so I was all right, I'm just going to go back to sleep and count, and just hopefully maybe this thing will go away or something.
You're just going to go back to sleep after that? If you think you might have, I don't know if you've had an abduction experience, but it sounds like you've had an abduction experience when you talk like that.
I know, it's just, I don't know what that was. And I mean, I asked her the next morning, I'm like, hey, do you remember me trying to shake you and wake you up? She's like, I don't know nothing. So I don't know what that was, because I mean, I was dreaming about it, and I was trying to wake up, and then boom, it was right standing in front of me and whatnot.
So let me get to your question, Flip. Let's get to your question, because I might have interrupted a little bit there. Sorry.
Yeah,
well, what's your question for Peter?
Would my heart rate and whatnot be entwined with everything, maybe?
With, let's just say, your heart rate being with all the entities and stuff like that?
You're saying your heart rate goes really low when you're sleeping, is what the sleep study said, right?
Yeah, and then that's where I feel like I'm seeing things, and then I wake up in a terror, but then I would assume heart rate would be skyrocketing, like I'm having a heart attack, with the being scared.
Sounds like night terrors.
Yeah, it sounds like
that's what they diagnosed me with.
Yeah, I had a buddy that had that real bad.
Yeah, I would actually if you can clear your field out of any entities before you go to bed and put up a protection field. That would probably be a good place to try to start with that. because the entity may be reducing your heart rate or, causing you emotional trauma and creating an energy, a bioelectric energy field from you by doing whatever it's doing in your night, in the dream state.
Feeding off your emotions in your dream state. Like I felt like it was happening to me with a shadow person.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep, that happens. So.
Yeah, definitely. Does that help, Flip? You there, Flip? Do we lose him?
I don't know.
Flip, you there? Still on the line. Still shows him on. Going once. Flip, are you there? I hear something like a pop, like it's like trying to connect. The entities are like, no, don't tell Flip.
There we go.
There
Can
you
hear
are.
me?
Yeah, I hear you.
There we are.
Now we can.
All right, my ear hit the mute button. But anyways, yeah, that helps me. I was just saying oh man, I forgot what I was saying. I was like, then when I'm having those bad dreams, it's like that female entity. She'll come in and push them away, and then the dream will turn into something else. I don't know.
Do you sleep with these amulets, Peter?
I do, yes.
Yeah. I was wondering if I should start sleeping with one.
Well, if you're dealing with the entities, I would wait to get to the entity pendant for what you're dealing with, because it sounds like you could actually really use that. And when with that comes with the prayers before you put it on, so you're going to clear your field of anybody or anything that's attaching to you or trying to attach to you. Clear that out, put the pendant on, and then just go about your day. And it's the only thing that's going to wear on the pendant is the actual the lanyard. That'll wear out over time, but the pendant will be fine. So you can shower with it, do whatever you need to it. So you can leave it on if you wanted to change it to a silver chain or whatnot, and you could wear it all the time, and nothing would really get to it.
Okay. All right.
Well, thank you, Flip, for calling in.
Yeah, thank you for letting me share some more of my crazy adventures.
Well, take care of yourself, and I honestly, before you even get the pendant, like Peter was saying, do the visualizations, the energy work before you go to sleep. Put that protective shield up around you. Try to start working mentally focused to make a sleep a ritual, and get yourself in a positive state when you go to bed.
Yeah, because I don't like these medications, because the ones that they prescribe me. The medication they prescribe me is not. I don't feel is right.
Yeah, I can't talk to you about your medication, but I would say do the research on it and the side effects. All right, Flip. Have a great night, bud.
Bye.
All right, we're going to go to our last commercial break here, and we'll open up the phone lines when we come back. Wait to call in until we come back from commercial break. But when we come back with our guest, Peter Benson, we'll continue to talk about this. And I don't know if you got anything to add for people that have attachments like that. Whoop, wrong button. Wrong button. What is wrong with me and the buttons tonight? I don't know if you have any advice more. We talk about spirits, attachments, and stuff like that, but I don't know. I'm hitting all the wrong buttons tonight. Am I? I am hitting all the wrong buttons. That one. Okay, there we go. To talk about somebody tripped there or flipped there. Some of that sounds like an alien abduction experience. Maybe you have some insight on that when we come back from the short commercial break.
Intercepted the transmission of unknown origin.
Transmission? Out here?
SOS.
Human.
Unknown.
Alien. Certificate X. Exclusive engagement at the Odeon Leicester Square. Now.
Any systematized transmission indicating a possible intelligent origin must be investigated. I want to hear all this.
In space, no one can hear you scream.
If you are interested in discovering the truth about the paranormal and want to hear from leading researchers in the field, Join Justin Brown on his 3 weekly shows named My Paranormal Soapbox, Necromancer Live Show, and the Supernatural Symposium, live on Facebook, YouTube, and InterfaceDeath.net.
This is an APAC studio presentation.
Hi, I'm Barry, owner-operator of Barry's Barometer Barn. Lately, I bet you've been lying awake at night asking yourself, how many barometers do I really need? Well, at Barry's Barometer Barn, we think you need more than one. Otherwise, we're gonna go out of business. Remember, at Barry's Barometer Barn, we don't know the meaning of high-pressure sales. Come on, folks, buy another barometer. I'm trying to put my kids through college, I've got a family to support, and a secret mistress who isn't cheap.
Visit Barry's Barometer Barn, 000 Storm Drive. Come on, folks, buy a barometer. I'm Barry's older brother, Larry, and every time one of you people walk past the store without coming in, Barry beats me.
This has been a presentation from Tim Morgan's APAC Studio. For more almost professional amateur comic studio content, visit the APAC YouTube channel. Search APAC 2002. That's APAC 2002 on YouTube.
When Alex Gardner is asleep, he has an extraordinary gift. The government wants it, the scientists want it, but to keep it may cost him his life. It might be better if Alex didn't sleep at all, but he cannot resist entering the dreamscape. Can you? See Dreamscape in the West End and all over London now. Certificate 15. It takes an extraordinary adventurer to enter the dreamscape.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from Talkstream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Join us every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time for Weird Wednesday, the live stream, with your hosts Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom, where we'll talk about all things paranormal, including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do Voices from Beyond, the Cold Case Files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Heat 'em up.
Do, re,
He gone.
You're listening to Paranormal Soup, bringing you the weird every Sunday night. Call into the show and join the discussion. The call-in lines are 219-230-4444 or 260-225-9419. Or by Skype caller ID 00JBland00 or JBland Paranormal Soup. And now to your host, Jason Bland.
Our guest tonight's been Peter Benson. We're talking about the Tensor technology. Going down some rabbit holes with this, but, like I said, anything the instructions on how you could try to build this yourself if you wanted to, but Peter's been building them. You go to his website, energyofservice.com. But anything I think we should look into trying to raise our frequency, change our vibration, because we are in like a toxic soup of energy, chemicals, and things bombarding us that are keeping us, like I said, stupid or agitated or anxiety. You can't make good decisions when your vibrations are bad, when your energy's wrong, when your mind's not right, when you're anxiety or in fear. You're not going to make good decisions. So anything I myself am exploring to try to get myself in a better state of mind, so I'm not agitated. And you know how you are when you're agitated? You say stupid things. You do stupid things. I do stupid things. So it's I think it's a very important show tonight. Talk about our energy and what we can do to help change it. One of these ways is the Tensor technology. Is really interesting tonight. Phone lines are now going to be back open. Call in, join the conversation. We only got less than a half an hour left in the show. Time goes by fast. So let's go ahead and get back to our guest. Thank you for hanging in there with us, Peter. I don't know if you have any insight on this. I know Vivian, your wife, you've had on the show. We talked a lot about aliens with her. I'm interested because I've had some experiences, and I've had abductees on here, and some of them are contactees, so they're having a positive experience. But some are abductees not having great experiences. Might as well be a negative entity attachment. It's the same deal. Would wearing one of these devices at night help prevent that?
From how I understand it, usually the abductions, not always, but they are usually a contract on the soul level to be utilized in that fashion. Not always, though. So, there are exceptions to that rule, but I don't believe that they can do that anymore on the planet. I believe that there's actually been contracts already been in place so that they can't do any of that for the last few years as far as taking anybody without a contract.
Vivian, and I've had two other guests say that.
Yeah, I don't think they can do that without a contract. So, there may still be abductions, but the abductions are actually in their soul contracts for this lifetime. And it may be multi-generational for that particular soul as well. Multiple lifetimes coming in from different genealogies just to actually have the energies being transferred so they understand what's going on. So, that's where I would go with that. I know for a fact that I was also abducted when I was young, really young.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What were your experiences with that? Because that may be interesting. Because your Metatron reached out to you through this other medium, and it started you down this path. And you obviously believe this is part of your, with reincarnation and all that. And I think there's an aspect to these abductions that have to be like a soul contract or reincarnations involved. Yeah. What did you experience as a child?
Well, it was more like when they took me at night, it was more like a dream. Mm-hmm. But it was more like I was floating in clouds. And that's all I could see was like a grayish, milky clouds floating around. But the next thing I would know is I would feel something sharp, like a needle or whatnot, come out and just poke. And it would come out of nowhere. And that would happen over and over and over again. It happened so many times. And over time, it then just stopped. So it happened for quite a while.
Yeah. Do you have any idea what it was, why you were taken or who was taking you, or just those childhood memories?
From what I understand, excuse me, it was multiple races doing different things for different agendas. There were, from what I understand, the reptilian and the Greys doing it, trying to prevent me from doing what I'm doing now. By putting different implants in to try to change and shift my energy so that I would be trying to steer in the wrong direction. But that obviously did not work. So I'm here anyway. And we've removed that kind of energy in those implants. So that's all done. And there were some actually more positive, what do you want to call it, entities and ETs that were doing this work, and I have agreements with them to do that. But it was actually, it's just like they shouldn't have done that. And what we did is we actually created a, what do you want to call it? More like a contract post contract, whatever it is now, that basically said when we actually put this out to the source base, it's like any information that they glean from the work that they did on me or to me when I was at that age is moot, gone, removed. So
like whatever
energetic-
influence they were trying to put on you.
Well, not necessarily the influence, but if they were doing anything for research purposes or doing anything like that, all that information is now gone. So we're basically we put that kind of intention out to clean those out.
So you're definitely one of those people, because I am. I have some people that are like, oh, the aliens are all good and it's positive, and I'm like, there's some that can't be good.
No, we've been under. Well, all you got to do is look at David Icke, and he is he just did an interview with.
I have like 6 books on my shelf of him. I don't believe everything David Icke says, but it's very fascinating.
Yeah, he just did an interview with Bright Insight on YouTube over this last week or last weekend. It was actually it was really impressive. And
Talk about somebody being censored.
Oh yeah, no, both of them do. And both Bright Insight and him both are censored, so they he had to create a Rumble channel just to have that on there. But he was talking about it's like if you look at it back, it's like, okay, you have all of these different societies over time, and I like when David said this the other day, I was like, holy crap, I never thought of it like this. And if you look at it, it's like, damn, you have all these different societies throughout time sacrificing and doing all these prayers and putting to these gods, for them to be benevolent instead of malevolent, or you'd be doing this satanic. And who are they praying to? Where are they pushing this energy to? And David Icke was caught. He basically comes like, you have to look at it. These are ETs. They're actually drawing off of this negative energy that have been here for a very long time. They're not physical. They're in an energetic state, but they're drawing off the negative energies and the aspects of human beings.
They're interdimensional ETs, basically. Yeah. They're not from our physical plane.
Right. Yeah, but Dave, he was like, he was so spot on when he went over it the other day, and he was so articulated in it, and it was just like, it was the best way I've ever heard anybody articulate that particular thing, because he's actually done the research into the different societies across time and all these different books. He's like, they have to be documented. He goes, yep, we found the documentation. And he's like, okay, so what are they getting out of this? Even up to today, you have all these Satanists and all these negatives. Why are they, doing, Bush and whoever, and Kerry and all these other, politicians doing mock sacrifice, if it's mock, and they're doing all these things. Why?
They're kind of like Bohemian Grove when they had the Moloch, the owl, and they're doing the Walter Cronkite does the narrative. Isn't Walter Cronkite some old famous news person? I think it was. Did like they play him speaking like the ritual, because it was Alex Jones. That's how Alex Jones got famous, because he broke into that by telling the people, this is great. He got into Bohemian Grove by saying, "Oh, we're with Bush's group," because they're Texans. They're like, "Oh yeah, they're Texans. They're with Bush's group."
Yep. So yeah, it's like he got the video of it too. It's like really interesting. Just. But it's even more than that. Even coming into nowadays, it's so much deeper and darker than we've ever seen. Especially if you look at some of the newer movies out.
Well, look at it's movies, the entertainers, all the. It's like, how can I outdo the next person by flashing myself for Satan? And I am not a Christian. I'm saying I'm a spiritual person that believes in the things about Christians and Buddhism and Muslims, and I have a lot of fascination with all these different religions. But it's fascinating how much Hollywood is like, pro Satan.
Yep, pro Satan, adrenochrome, and Pizzagate kind of stuff, and all these other things. All these different people are actually, what's coming.
The spirit cooking. Look, we talked about this on the show weeks ago. How in Ukraine, Zelensky wants to make that Maria Povovich, how you say her name, the artistic Satanist, an ambassador. Yeah, she does the spirit cooking where she puts sperm. And people eat this stuff. Put sperm. Ooh, do you like what the secret ingredient is? It's sperm. And they make like fake body cakes. It looks like a human dead body, but it's a cake, right? Just gross. Witches and bodily fluids, man. It's just so gross. They always got to be bodily fluids. It's gross. Don't eat anything if you go to one of her parties. Spirit cooking is not it's not a bunch of wine cooking. We're cooking with wines and beers and stuff. No, it's spirit and it's sperm cooking. I don't know. It's like gross cooking. Like she put I don't know. Read up about this. And she has all these like celebrities showing up to these events. You can see the pictures. Lady Gaga, of course. Big fan. Goes there. But and you have people. The reason people found out a lot about this again in the media was the WikiLeaks emails with John Podesta from when he's in the Obama administration was like go to these spirit cooking parties.
Yeah, that's just nasty.
But he's a big part of the whole UFO, like Tom DeLonge and the UFO disclosure. Podesta's a part of that.
Yeah, but how much of that disclosure is actually true, and how much of it is manipulated?
That's what I'm pointing out. That's what I'm pointing out.
I mean, I don't go for I do like Stephen Greer. I just don't believe that everybody, all the ETs are, all kumbaya and all that.
I don't like Stephen Greer.
It would never come down.
I don't.
We've been to one of his events, and his energy was not very good, but that's okay.
No. It's like, what is energy like a cult? I mean, look what he did to Demi Lovato. She shaved her head and got gross, and is like talking about Stephen Greer every day because she went to she's gone to his events where they saw UFOs. You mean flares? He's been caught cheating. Like he's been caught faking. Oh, yeah. I'm saying he's just a money grab. It pisses me off. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, you're fine
people
with
like that.
Didn't something just I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I thought I just seen something else about him recently come up in the news too, that he got caught with something.
God knows. It's the UFO field. Yeah. It's full of it.
It is. But what he says is actually interesting. It's like
there is. I agree.
What he says and what he does are two different things. He actually some of his earlier stuff was really kind of interesting. The way he came across and talks about stuff, I was like, yeah, but I'm not going to buy it. I don't buy the 100% pure. It's like, I'm sorry, but right now we live in a dualistic system.
He's a Project Bloombeam person. He believes that the government's going to fake an alien invasion, make him look all negative and evil.
You never know. Well, I mean, you got to figure what was it? The German scientist. That's what he was saying at the end of his life.
Oh God.
Yes, exactly. I can't think of his name.
I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
I can't think of it.
His secretary came out and took his last statements, and is like basically one of those things. It's like they're going to be. This is the series of things that are going to do in order to maintain control, and they're losing control over and over again. So what are they going to try to pull next?
I'm not an opponent to the Project Bloombeam theory. I definitely think it's a definite good possibility our government would use something like that. I mean, look at the Reagan speech. We were faced with an alien threat. We'd all come together. Yeah, we get it, Reagan. You said that 3 times in 3 different speeches. They made sure your senile brain would say that speech for a reason.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, being with Vivian and the energies that we've experienced, we know and we've felt the negative energies of like a draconian or reptilian. And we have felt the effects of it.
Look! Remember, I was a kid in the '80s, and I remember V. Remember V?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, remember the aliens come down, look human, and they're really reptilians eating gerbils and stuff. That freaked me out. Like it touched some core base instinct of mine. I understood that this is something really, and they canceled the hell out of that show, like they do to good sci-fi. And then they revamped it, and they canceled the hell out of that show really quick. It's like it almost hits too home to the truth, or it's just networks because they got stupid studio people like, oh, I don't get this reptilian alien thing, just cancel that.
Well, they have to tell you what they're doing, right? That's what the whole karma thing. So they're telling you what they're doing. They just can't leave it on there forever.
Yeah.
But the internet is forever, so it's there.
I'm an Ancient Aliens guy. I mean, you can go back and look at the Anunnaki and the Sumerians, and they understood their gods were not like, they were physical. They slept with the women. I mean, Enki, he got around. Guy was poking everything. You know, we wouldn't be here without him, right? If you believe in the Sumerian and Zachary Stitchin stuff, you know. But I mean, they were flawed beings. I mean, in the Bible, Yahweh says, "I am a jealous God." That doesn't sound like a good start. You know, things when your God's telling you he's a jealous God. You know, like, oh, okay, that's not good. You know, you ever get in a relationship, the first thing your girlfriend says is, "I'm a jealous girlfriend." Oh, shoot. How do I get the hell out of this relationship? You know, saying like, you look at all your ancient texts of all the different gods, they're all very imperfect.
Yes.
Just like
Absolutely.
us.
So, yes. And that's what's one of the things. It's like, what's coming in now, and we talked about this, how much propaganda is out there, and we have to get back into our core and really go inside and, you know, even just feel. Does it feel right? I mean, understand how to muscle test. Is that true? Yes or no? You know, learn how to muscle test, do things like that. But you need to start going inside for your answers and stop going to the TV or to the news for your answers, and stop watching the show, because the show is just trying to distract you.
Yeah, and it's every week. I mean, it's always some new drama, you know, like to get us outraged about whatever or get us fearful, doom, you know, about whatever. And I fall for it just like every other human on this planet. You know, I try not to. My smell test is much better, you know, than I think a lot of people's. I'm like, yeah, I don't think you're telling me the truth there, media.
No, you're not.
I have an inkling of suspicion that you're feeding me a line of BS to get me to react. David Icke, one of my favorite things about David Icke is his problem reaction solution.
Oh yeah.
You know, he's always talked about that. You know, they present you the problem they created, you react, and they go, "Oh, here's the solution we wanted the whole time."
Yes, exactly. And that's exactly what it is. It's like one of those things. And it's like, if you look at it, you have to look in the opposite direction they're telling you to look.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like if they create something that's like, oh my God, it was Ukraine. Okay, that's not distracting people enough. Hey, let's go blow up Gaza. And okay, now they're going to go bomb Gaza. And now just everybody on the planet's now paying attention to that. What are they doing? They're trying to bring in this digital currency to put everybody into enslavement. So they're not.
And they tell you it. They tell you it out loud. But
yeah, oh yeah. But they're doing other things right now that are actually far more sinister than what they're doing in Gaza, and that's the distraction.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. That's if they're showing you it, that's the distraction.
Yes.
You know.
That's what David Icke said. It's like, if it's shiny and this is what they're look someplace else, because that's not what they want. They want you to look at something else. What is it? Go look.
And it's got to be something that nobody can just agree on. That's going to be enough. It's got to be something to divide people. You know, like the new thing, Free Palestine, or you know, Israel has a right to exist. You know, like I'm like, do any of you people live there? Shut up. You know, I don't care. You know, like. I'm not saying it's horrible. It's all horrible. I get it. Children are dying. War is horrible. It's a horrible thing. Why are we doing it? Why are we giving money for it? You know, you know the history of it. Why we're there? Why they're there? Why they're doing what they're doing? You know, do you know any of the history of it? You know that there is no good guys or bad guys. It's just a lot of bad guys.
Yeah, exactly. So what's going on in Ukraine now? Oh, that's right. That's last week or a week before.
That was last week.
And
Zelensky's like, give me money. We will pay it back. Give us money. We will pay it back. I'm like, oh, sure. I got the homeless guy on my street says the same speech.
Yeah, exactly. What happened to Maui?
Right. Oh, forgot all about that, right?
Yep.
You know what? No, what's really interesting? The war broke out in Israel, and you got all these people suddenly dying in Israel. Like, of heart attacks. Wonder why. One of the most forced vaccinated countries in the world. The little 8-year-old kid that they put up in their Israel campaign with a little puppet.
I know, I saw that.
To tell, like, my child get vaccinated, you know, and he's dead. Had a heart attack. Died in his bathtub.
I saw that in the news. Was it last week before? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it happened the week that news came out. Was the week that crap went down in Gaza. Not saying they're connected.
Really?
I'm just saying, yeah. You know, I'm saying, you know, nobody's, you know, there's a lot of things some people should be answering for.
Yeah, and I think
we're never going to get it because we're every week got a new terror, new tragedy, or new thing shiny thing to distract us. Oh, look over here. Where are you here? Where are you here? Don't worry about that behind there. We don't want you to know about that.
Yeah, I think two of the things I think they're trying to avoid responding to is that, for one, why are all these people all of a sudden, dying suddenly? And the other part is what they're trying to push through the World Health Organization is a complete and utter control over every country on the planet.
Yeah, you don't get to make your health policy. We do.
One
One
world
World
government
Health
control.
Authority,
Yeah.
they can
Correct.
declare what is a state of emergency. They're coming out with that whatever X now, right?
Right now. They're doing it now.
75% more deadly than anything. They can say, well, that's enough that we can just shut the world down because this is way too contagious. And then here we are quarantined in our homes.
Yeah,
again.
it doesn't matter. Your local officials don't agree, and they don't want to shut down. They're going to shut down because we said so. Because your country signed away their rights.
Yes.
Yeah. Screw you, Carl Schwab.
And that's all I just learned too. That's all
Bill
like
Gates.
the United Nations and everything. Like there's this whole pyramid of the reign of power of how that goes down and the way these decisions actually get made. Nobody's ever going to be held accountable for any of this.
No. And it's interesting that the Supreme Court decided not to rule on vaccine mandates last week.
Yeah. I mean, they flubbed it. They flubbed it. I mean, even Trump's own Supreme Court picks flubbed it on the vaccine mandates big time.
Yes.
And I knew they would. They were bad picks. Sorry. They were. I mean, it would be better than the picks we'd get from the other political aisle, but they were still crony picks. They're not protecting the actual constitutional rights of Americans. They don't understand the constitutional rights of Americans. I don't care if there's some law, whatever. They're part of a political establishment that wants certain agendas and care about stupid ideas. I'm just saying our freedoms are attacked so many different ways right now. So many different ways. Our medical freedom, our freedom of speech, a right to work and live. And every freedom's being attacked.
Kamala omitted the right to life out of the Declaration of Independence. We had the right to, prosperity and whatever else, but she omitted the right to life.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have the right to life. Euthanasia!
That had to do with human rights when they went through and amended a bunch of stuff recently. Dr. Campbell has excellent information on all
John
that.
Campbell is awesome.
John Campbell, yeah.
Yeah, YouTube censors the hell out of him. I'm like, he's a freaking doctor.
Human rights.
Yep. Yeah, doctors don't have the right to be a free speech on YouTube. Nope.
No.
Oh, no.
Just the experts.
Anybody thinks, you guys are just listening to some crazy way. Go find Dr. John Campbell. Listen to him. You will see how analytic that guy is, how non-emotional about anything. The reason I can't stand Alex Jones is because he'd be like, "Gay frogs!" Dude, you do not help the cause with your crazy act. I swear you're partly, a psyop. I don't trust you because I'm just saying you're the poster boy for tinfoil hat crazy bullcrap,
Yeah,
but people like John Campbell, they're trying to really speak to the issue, look at the data, very analytical. That's what we need. And they're censoring the hell out of him like he's Alex Jones.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got Robert Malone. You have a whole bunch of other doctors
Robert Malone.
that are out there talking about.
One of the inventors of MRI, right?
Yeah. He did this, and he's like, no. It's. Mm-hmm.
He's suing some people, though. He's suing some people that are like in that far Alex Jones tinfoil hat kind of deal because their misrepresentation of what he said and trying to make it into some huge conspiracy, whatever. And then he's like, no, you can't do that. He's trying to sue them. So everybody's suing each other. But the people that need to really get sued is the big pharmaceutical companies, Anthony Fauci, all those people involved. But nothing will happen. Nothing will happen.
Dr. Sadat is another really good one that they keep taking down.
Keep censoring, yep. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, Peter. You're going to go out there, I got my Tensor bracelets. It's going to help your energy. You're censored. That's going to happen eventually. People don't think that, once they cross the line, there's no stopping it. They're going to censor everybody. And all you're going to get.
Helping people.
Yeah. All you're going to get is a pharmaceutical ads.
Yeah. Well, that's why I named the company Energies of Service. I'm of service to everybody. And the tools are energies, and they're actually controlling energies, helping energies, amplifying energies. So, and they help you do you. and help you be.
You know, one thing I didn't get to ask too. You know, I have a lot of listeners and stuff, and we've had people on the topic of astral projection. Do you have any that would help with people that are trying? Because I have people calling like, I've been trying to astral project. Or you have any that would do that?
Okay, so the multidimensional is that tool.
See, that's the one I want. That's the one I gotta get.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the crazy powerful one. If you go onto the website and look at, click into the multidimensional and look at the list of things it'll help you do, it's going to help you get there. Don't expect a miracle tool if you are not spiritually ready.
I'm
to
American.
go
I expect quick results and a miracle tool. I take a pill and better fix it.
It's going to help you go further than you are now. But it's not going to get you, I'm going to, pop out of my body and go to the, Akashic record tonight and look everything up. It's just not going to happen that way unless you're ready for it. It's like, if it did something like, just think about it. You put this pendant on, all of a sudden you're outside of your body, and what the hell are you going to do? You don't know what you're doing, what's going on, how to protect yourself, where do I go, how do I handle this, how do I get back in my body? You're not ready for it. So this tool,
you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah, you have a very bad time, bad trip. So it's one of those things. And we've had people have amazing experiences. Have you heard Danica Brinkley? You've heard of him, right?
I would. Oh yeah, of course. Art Bell fan. I would love to. I've had guests on or friends with him, and I know he's getting up there, and he's had 5 near-death experiences. I'd love to talk to that guy.
Yeah, he actually played with the multidimensional. He actually put it on.
Yeah.
And he actually put it on. It's like, and since he's actually his perceptions are a lot more fine-tuned than ours because he's been over there a few times.
Yeah, like 5, I think it is.
Put it on.
Like,
5 times. And he put it on, and he was standing there looking around. And he just looks to the side, and he looks around. And he's like, this is cool. It's like, I can actually see the dimensional barriers now. And he was literally
awesome.
looking around. He's just like almost like touching. He's like, I can almost like touch the dimensional barriers. He could see it. So, I mean, he's been there, so he can actually see those barriers. It's like, I'm in this bubble.
It's like seeing the walls of the Matrix,
Yeah, exactly. It's like seeing that. We had a young lady, probably in her mid-20s, and we did a little bit more of an experiment with her where she put on a multidimensional on the front, and I held a second one to her back of her heart chakra. So she had 2 in her field.
Yeah.
And the minute she did that, she was in either a parallel life or a past life where she was not on this planet. And she was a amphibian. That's what she was, a furry amphibian. So she had fur, waterproof. And she was standing on this beach, and she could look, and she was describing the entire environment, the water, the ocean that was there. And she was like, the village is on the cliffside. Literally,
so she's having like a total past life recall of an alien existence.
Yeah, she just literally
awesome.
She was just right there, and she went on and on and on for about 10 minutes on the experience and how she felt, and it was just like how the body felt and what the water, the fur, how it the warmth, and it was just really like wow.
Oh wow!
So
we're out of time.
If you're ready for it,
yeah. I know we run out of time so quick in this show. Peter, you were awesome. Check out his website, energiesofservice.com. Time went by so fast, I was missing commercial breaks. But thank you. Thank you so much for being on the show. It was really an honor to have you on. Definitely want to check out your devices, and we definitely have to have you back on again and talk more about it because look how quick time went by.
Absolutely. We can definitely do that again. Not a problem.
All right, Peter. You have a great night. Thanks, everybody. Shares out the show. Keep telling people about Paranormal Soup, where the paranormal happens live every Sunday night, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Central, 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Pacific time. Don't forget to follow and subscribe on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. And thank you to all our Patreon members, $1 a month, $2 a month. You can join our private Patreon chat room on there and get messages to me live during the show if you're not able to do Facebook or YouTube. And honestly, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, Jamie monitors that, but I don't really see a lot of the messages all the time. On Patreon, I'm checking it. So if you want to help donate to the show, pay the bills for this show, and get your direct messages live to me during the show, go to Patreon, look up the links in the show description for our Patreon, or go look it up, Jason Bland Paranormal Soup. All right, guys, thanks for watching this show. Won't be back next week. It's holiday weekend. I am busy. But we'll be back the following week, the following Sunday. So see you guys in 2 weeks. Have a great night.